Travolting presents The Fraser's Edge. Hosted by Jeff Sweeney and Stuart Elmore. Covering The Whale. With special guest Justin Campbell. Har she blows! Get out the harpoons, lads! We got ourselves a fine humpback coming in today!
I like your water bottle.
Har she blows!
What kind of is it? Where'd you just get that recently?
Call me Ismail, I shall fight the whale.
Okay, cool. Yeah, it's cool.
That's right, folks. Welcome
like
back to Travolting Presents The Fraser's Edge, the only podcast in America that covers an actor's entire filmography from beginning to end. With our current subject, Brendan Fraser. We're getting near the end of Fraser's career.
Yeah.
And this is a big episode.
Huge.
This is essentially...
God damn it. I'm already doing it.
Yeah.
Fuck. Jesus Christ.
One could even say whale-ish in size.
Gargantuan.
No. But this is essentially the movie that kind of spawns this podcast, in a sense.
Yeah, really.
When it came, Travolta kind of spawned out of Gotti, a movie that I thought was very funny and wanted to talk about. And I'm like, what's the most convoluted way we could lead up to this? And I'm like, we'll talk about Travolta's entire career. And out of that spawned the idea of just like, looking at Travolta or just an actor's career from beginning to end and finding the arc of that career.
Yeah.
But when it came time for Brendan, or second, subject, Brendan kind of presented himself as in a moment. And it seemed like he had a comeback on the horizon, that being The Whale.
Yeah.
This was a big movie that was hyped up for a while. It's an A24 release that was very successful. And it's what won Brendan his Oscar.
Yeah, what's interesting about it, Jeff, is you mentioned, you watched Gotti.
Yes.
Loved it so much that you wanted to create a podcast as an excuse so you could eventually get to that movie to talk about it for 5 hours.
Yes.
This is a movie that you only went off of by hype alone.
Yes.
We had not seen this movie until after the podcast had been well into production.
Yes.
So I guess that's, I don't know if there's a question there, but like just, was it, because it's a good movie too, which is interesting.
Questionable.
Oh,
It's
no.
a questionable point.
No, it's a good movie.
It's a questionable point.
It's a great movie.
It's a good movie.
See, all right. I'll save it for...
Should we get into it?
I'm going to save it for a few minutes.
Okay.
I just,
I'm ready for pretext.
We're worthy for context for this episode.
Sure. Yeah. Totally.
Because, we were just talking about, like, Gotti, this. It's kind of the impetus of the podcast. It's a very important episode.
Yes.
And we're very thrilled to have Justin back for it.
I'm so excited to be
Justin
here.
basically, he put in the work on all these movies that do not exist. Your Secrets of Karmas.
You really did went through
whatever
the meat grinder.
Whatever the fuck the Afro Nat Wolf movie was.
Hairbrain.
Yeah, the worst movie I've ever seen. You really put your time in.
What can I say?
And today we welcome you.
I wanted to be on this podcast when I heard you guys were doing the Brendan Fraser, because duh.
Yeah.
And everything I wanted to do was gone. So it was like, well, I've never seen these. Why not?
Yeah.
And I think, what was the first one?
You did, was it The Air I Breathe? It was The Air I Breathe.
The Air I Breathe, because I
Breathe.
found that in like a, Walmart bin, like a pull out. And ever since then, I was like, fuck it. We're going to roll in the fire, baby.
How many times does this make it for you?
Oh, God.
4?
4 or 5?
Air I Breathe, Secret of Karma, Hairbrain, now this. Is there one in the middle that I'm missing?
I feel like there's one more.
Yeah.
You did The Air I Breathe.
Yep.
Hairbrain.
Yep.
Line of Descent.
Line of Descent.
Secret of Karma.
Secret of Karma.
The Whale.
The
So you've done
Whale.
five.
So 5.
Number
Round
5,
5,
baby.
So I think you're one way from the Tilly Club.
I'm
well,
I
was
mean-
Batgirl 7?
Well, Batgirl, which is coming out next week, will have Mark Tilly.
Sorry. I didn't mean
I
for
think
that.
I need to count what he's... I'll have to count.
Yeah.
But, you did all those movies, so even if I may have questionable thoughts on this movie, it is an important movie and kind of an interesting movie to talk about.
It's an Oscar-winning film.
Yeah, so I'm glad to have you on for this episode, that we can actually give you something that you can sink your teeth into.
It'd be like,
bite in-
okay.
You can chew on the fat of this movie.
right. Oh, here it is.
Fair. Yep.
I don't mean to be that mean, but
I mean, hey,
the jokes are presented.
they are right there.
Yes.
It would almost be a disservice not to take it. I do agree.
So yeah. Let's talk a little bit about this movie. But first, Stuart. So
Yeah.
I said that this is like a big episode. It's our Gotti equivalent. And you remember for the Gotti episode, we brought every previous guest back. to talk about Gotti. We did a 5.5-hour episode.
You told me to bring the Zoom kit, but not to. That we're not zooming people in.
We are not zooming people in. Over the past 2 weeks, I have been accumulating recordings from previous guests of the show about their thoughts on The Whale.
What? What?
And I have the lineup. It is 7 people who have seen this movie, who have guested on the show before. And throughout the episode, we will be chiming in to listen to their thoughts.
Oh my god!
So that they can share their thoughts on the motion picture The Whale.
Oh my god!
So that's what you
I am not ready for this because I bet you 6 out of 7 of those are going to say it's a terrible movie.
I actually have not listened to any of them.
No shit.
Even better.
I have tested. I clicked on all of them to make sure that they played, but I haven't listened to any of them. So I don't know. I mean, I know some of their thoughts just by talking with them.
Yeah.
Or being like a letterbox friends with them, something. But I don't know what any of them are going to say.
Okay, so Mark, Cole, probably Becca.
I cannot say. I cannot say. We will find out as we get through them.
That's the mystery. That's
Yeah.
So that's what you meant.
But we're going to kind of like spice it out a bit. We're not going to clump them all at once. So
I am so
should we play the first one now, or do you want to do the pretext first?
I want to hear the first one right fucking
let's
now.
figure out who's going first. All right, we'll start off with Rebecca Johnson, former guest of the show.
Just hit the space.
I don't know
bar,
how to have really any opinion on this movie outside of that it's outstandingly miserable for no reason. Everybody is so mean to Charlie for no reason, while he's just like constantly only protruding love and self-hatred, and everybody just drives that self-hatred in him to the point of, like, he almost eats himself to death. Like, I'm not entirely sure where the other characters get off on making Charlie more miserable than he already is. It's just a hard watch. I can get through movies that are difficult, that have difficult subject matter, but this one just feels overtly mean. And mean in a way that is, like, kind of unredeemable. It makes me feel yucky as an audience. So it's really just a huge no from me.
That's a fair critique.
Too.
So Jeff, from
Yes.
now on, just hit the space bar. So when you're hovering over the audio file in the Finder window, not the Apple iTunes window, but in the Finder window, just make sure it's highlighted and hit the space bar.
Okay.
Do you just want to try that on Rebecca now, just to make sure it all goes through?
No, I got it.
Okay,
I got this.
Just I see the reflection of it in your TV, and I saw that you double clicked it and opened up the whole Apple iTunes thing, and I'm like, oh Jesus Christ, because then you're gonna get all my
piano thing at the end.
this is all of my like copyright free music I use and like shit that I do. So it's
it's
gonna
copyright free.
Well, yeah, it's copyright free. So
issues.
we don't
the
have
whole
to.
thing.
We're not gonna. But unless if you want, like, this movie sucks, it's awful, I hate it.
That's what I said. It's a yucky movie.
Yeah. So yeah, just hit the space bar in the Finder window.
No, that was a first guest chiming
That's
in.
a fair. That's a fair critique.
Yes.
That's a very fair critique.
And my main goal with these is that they will provide talking points for us as we go through the movie.
Yes.
Just kind of taking a universal perspective.
Yeah. No, that's fair. I don't disagree with Becca.
So we checked in with Becca first, who was not a fan of the Whale.
I'm guessing 6 out of 7 of these folks are not going to be a fan.
A lot of people I've talked to haven't been fans of it.
I'm just gonna say I think it's a good movie. Am I gonna it's like any Aronofsky film. Like I even said, I re-listened to our Oscars episode, and in the episode we even mentioned, Jeff, that you and I have different opinions on it, and I clarified that I needed to watch it a second time, which I have now done.
Yes.
And I still walk away with it thinking it's still a good movie. It's not perfect, but it's like any other Aronofsky film. Like, I don't willingly watch Mother a second time or Requiem of a Dream for a second time or like, tell me if you guys think different, but Aronofsky's just the guy that's like, his movie is a one-watch experience, love it or hate it, but once it's over, you're glad it's over one way or the other.
Yes.
And so like to revisit it is kind of like, it's weird for his type of form.
Yeah, it's weird. It's like, I haven't seen a lot of Aronofsky movies. He's a blind spot for me.
Yeah.
I've seen Mother and this.
Have you seen Requiem of a Dream?
I've not.
I've seen The Whale, and that's it.
Yeah. I am a huge fan of Mother. I really enjoyed Mother.
How many times have you watched
I've watched
it?
Mother once.
Exactly. That's my point.
Mm-hmm. because it's such like an acid trip of a movie.
Right.
That I would watch Mother again because I think it's to my understanding of him, it's probably his most entertaining movie. I mean, I haven't seen Noah, which to my understanding involves Russell Crowe going like, "Oh yeah, I'm gonna fight me a big rock monster, Golem in it."
I forgot. That's actually 4 Aronofsky movies I've seen.
You've seen Noah?
I've seen Noah.
How crazy is Noah?
It's fucking crazy.
I know it has big rock monsters, so they're like, "Yeah, that's Gabriel the angel." And you're like, "Wait, what?"
Yeah.
I'm gonna watch that when I go home.
You should watch Noah.
Wait. So, and I haven't seen. I haven't seen The Fountain. I've seen bits of The Fountain. Let me get to his directing stuff. Okay. Yeah, I've seen Mother. I've seen Noah. I've seen Black Swan. I've seen The Wrestler. I've seen Requiem for a Dream. Oh, I guess I've seen a lot of Aronofsky movies.
I guess I've only seen The Whale.
Black Swan is, I would say that's entertaining is weird to say, but like Black Swan and I'd almost say The Whale are the most similar movies together. Like they're about somebody who's going through a self-destructive process.
Yes.
Mother's similar.
Black Swan, a movie we might cover someday.
Might, yeah.
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 Yes, yeah, okay. I was like, wait a minute, what?
Hang on.
Okay, wait. I had to think about that.
Tune into our Coast of the Flower Moon episode to understand what I'm talking about.
Yeah. Okay, but no, you just said it for me, Jeff, that you would watch Mother again.
Yes.
Let me know the day you do. I bet it's going to be 10 years from now.
Yeah.
Because that's my point. It's like, I think I've always like passed through an Aronofsky movie on Netflix or something. And I'm like, oh yeah, I did watch that a while ago. I should watch it again. Let's see what else is on.
Yeah.
And I end up picking another movie because subconsciously part of that is I don't want to see Requiem for a Dream again. I watched the movie once. I will never watch it again. It's a great, phenomenal movie, but you will never, ever, ever want to watch it again.
Yeah.
I think Black Swan, I could watch that multiple times. But
the difference between the way Aronofsky does kind of a miserable subject matter and the way, like, I'm going to use Spielberg as an example, which is like kind of unfair, but I'm just going to use it.
I don't see why it's unfair.
Well, it's just that he's like the best who ever did it. It's kind of unfair to compare other people to Spielberg.
Yeah.
But Schindler's List, a movie I think about a lot. That is, when people are like, yeah, that's the most miserable movie ever made. And I'm like, watch Schindler's List. It's very intense. There's very harrowing stuff in it.
Yeah.
The movie itself is structured like a caper. Like, it's like you're kind of propulsed by this, I don't want to say action movie energy, but like kinetic energy of watching Oskar Schindler try and outsmart the Nazis.
Yes. Yes, I 100% agree with you.
And that's why Schindler's List is weirdly a very rewatchable movie.
Yeah.
Because obviously the ending is intense. I cry every time. The girl in the red dress is intense. There's like a lot of depressing stuff, but watching it, you're kind of like, this is what the movies are all about.
But is there a moment in Mother where Jennifer Lawrence like steps up to the bat and saves the day? No.
That's the thing is like Aronofsky approaches misery in a different way, and he typically doesn't make like out and out horror. Like his movies, I would say, generally lean more into like horror type.
Yeah, Black Swan being the most.
Yeah, but like another miserable movie would be Hereditary.
Yeah.
Which I think is extraordinarily rewatchable because even if the subject is miserable, like it's kind of like a movie you can be like, yeah, because there's all these demons that get involved.
It's almost like a true crime detective movie.
Yeah.
Because it's about the mom figuring it all out.
Yeah, it's about the mom figuring it all out.
It's not just about bad stuff happening.
And there's the element of there being all these like metaphysical things involved.
Yeah.
Where you're just kind of like, what the fuck is happening?
Yeah.
The part where Toni Collette yelling at all her family ostensibly is the same structure of a scene as a lot of scenes in The Whale. It's a very intense family argument with, an actor who is breaking down as they're yelling. It's very similar to like the Fraser, like, I need to have done one thing right in my life scene.
God.
And I think it's interesting as like to audiences how Hereditary, like you watch it and some people are like, Hereditary is a comedy, and they mean that as a compliment. But no one watches The Whale and thinks, oh, this is a comedy. Because it's just like a difference in approaching the same texture of a scene.
Hereditary is a comedy.
I can point out some people to you.
But what's their argument for that?
Their argument is basically that it's like the movie's about grief, and their argument is that it's like a comedy about how insane grief will like summon demons. It's hard for me to articulate the argument. I'm kind of a little swayed by it, if only because Ari Aster's next 2 movies were comedies.
Midsommar was a comedy?
Here's the thing. Midsommar, a movie that I went in expecting a horror movie.
Yeah.
Halfway through, I couldn't grasp the tone.
Yeah.
Because there is like Will Poulter going around doing a lot of funny stuff, like his vape jokes and whatnot.
Yeah.
And the whole time I'm like, I can't quite figure out like what the tone of this thing is.
Yeah.
And then halfway through the movie, Ari Aster, puts in the most obvious thing of all time. He has a guy jump off a cliff and try and kill himself. He fails to die. And all the cultists come up with the world's largest hammer. And that is the movie. It's him just hitting you on the head with extremely obvious, points for a comedic effect. This movie is about breaking up done to the 10th degree.
Okay, yeah. To your last bit, yes, I agree with that. Hitting the head over the hammer thing, I wasn't laughing when he hit the dude's
I was
head
laughing so hard when that hammer came because I'm like, you don't put a hammer of this scale in this movie unless you mean for me to laugh at it.
Interesting. Yeah, I don't know if I took that away from it, but I did understand the whole like this is a breakup movie to the nth degree.
It's a breakup movie that like just goes so far where you can't help but kind of like laugh at how insane it is.
The very ending, absolutely.
Yeah.
How he's just burning in the bear costume, and she's like, you think maybe she's gonna cry, but then she just starts laughing and smiling, and it's like, oh, she's like happy she's out of it now.
It's like I would not bemoan anyone who was like, I didn't think that's a comedy. Like, I'm not going to argue that point. This is how I interpret that movie.
I see where your thought process is going with it, though.
I would say Beau is Afraid, which is his newest movie.
Which I have not seen yet.
I haven't
If
seen
you get Beau is Afraid, is the most. It's full stop a comedy, but like a very bleak one. Let me describe for you a scene in that movie. It's a movie all about anxiety. And he doesn't want to leave his house because he's anxious someone will break into his apartment. He is forced to leave the house to go to the 7-Eleven across the street. And he keeps like looking out at the window of the 7-Eleven to look at his front door. And it's like kind of propped open. He realizes he forgot to shut it all the way. And like a homeless guy walks up and looks at it and goes up and opens the door. And then every single person on the street goes into his house. Like, I kid you not, there's like 100 extras and they all enclose on his door and go inside of his house, and then the street is empty. And he runs back outside and there's not a single extra around. They have all gone into his apartment.
Okay, that's pretty funny.
That is
yeah, that's
that
funny.
is the tone of that movie.
That's very funny.
It's like a good.
Well, I was expecting when you were making that comparison, my first thought was Nope.
Yeah.
Like, Nope to me is a funny movie.
Yeah, Nope is a very funny movie. Nope
Phrased
is
as a horror.
Yeah.
But it is definitely a comedy.
Yeah, Nope is unique in that it is like it's a horror comedy. I mean, Midsommar I would say is the same thing.
Interesting. Yeah. To maybe a different, a lesser degree.
Yeah, a different degree.
Yeah, Nope is very much half and half.
Yeah, I would honestly say Nope is more in. It's more of
It's
like,
more comedy than
it's
horror.
basically Jaws. If you look at the structure of the movie down to the ending where they go and hunt, it's basically just Jaws.
Yeah, absolutely.
And Jaws is funny, it is scary, and it is like, an action movie. And I think Nope is the first movie I've seen that really captures the essence of Jaws in that way that wasn't directed by Steven Spielberg.
Okay.
Because Jaws is like, he's just like, he's trying to figure out what the fuck, where's the shark at? And then the end's like, I found the shark, I'm going to go kill it. And there's like, there's a lot more to it than that, but that's the basic structure. And Nope is like, he's like, I'm going to figure out what's going on with this alien. And he's like, I found it, I'm going to go kill it.
Yeah.
Everyone who's going to get mad and say like, Nope is about so much more. I agree. Nope is like the best movie of last year. There's so much to it. I'm not getting into it. We're talking about The Whale.
I'm not defending
Did you have
this.
pretext, Jeff?
I do have pretext.
I realized
of The Whale.
we went into a huge discussion.
Yeah, but that's why people listen to the show.
Yeah.
If you're listening at this point, you like when we go on those tangents.
Yeah, I mean, if you're still here.
Yeah.
I prefer podcasts where they like kind of veer off a little bit and it feels like a natural
keep
discussion.
veering off.
Yeah, they have personality.
Yeah, exactly. It's personality instead of just a guy being like, so this movie came out in 1992. No. It's The Whale, based on a play. And wouldn't you know,
Yeah.
Couldn't you tell?
Couldn't you tell?
Oh my fuck.
It's a play that came out in 2012, written by Samuel D. Hunter. Apparently, Aronofsky has been interested in the play since he first saw it. It was originally performed in the Denver Center for the Performing Arts. It hasn't like gotten around that much, as near as I can tell. Like it appeared off Broadway. It's been in Chicago. It was in Japan this year, 2023. But it's not like
It's not a Broadway.
Yeah.
It's not Fences.
It's not on Broadway. It's not winning Tony. It's like just a play that got performed and got like decent notices.
Yeah. It's an indie play.
Yeah, essentially.
Yeah.
A short film.
Aronofsky apparently really liked it and been trying to work on it for a while. He could never figure out who he wanted to play Charlie in it, which is what kind of held him back from it.
In 2012.
Yeah, and just like over the decade.
In 2012, not Fraser.
Yeah. And also just bigger opportunities were presenting themselves to Aronofsky. Like Noah, which is literally a big opportunity. In the scale, Russell Crowe.
It's so hard to fathom that he did Noah.
And then Mother, which kind of comes out of, his relationship with Jennifer Lawrence and his interest in religious text.
The hell happens in Mother? Jesus Christ.
Mother is it's essentially
it's the creation story.
Yeah, it's the book of Genesis.
But told in the span of a would you say spouse?
Yeah, it's like
but like a spouse like in a house and their relationship. Take that and apply the book of Genesis on it.
It's like imagine if you
we didn't do any justice.
Imagine
explaining it at all.
Imagine adapting the book of Genesis from Eve's perspective. And if Adam was also God,
Earth's perspective.
Yeah,
and that the husband is God because Adam and Eve are characters in.
Oh, yes, they are. You're right.
Okay.
Jennifer Lawrence is Mother Earth.
Okay.
Javier Bardem is God.
Got it.
And it's just Cain and Abel appear. Yeah, it's a good movie. I would actually recommend it.
They do get into the New Testament, so there is a Jesus thing.
Oh, thank God.
And when it gets there, when it hits, Jeff, does it hit?
It hits.
It hits. You guys keep talking. I have to go.
It's
use the
one
restroom
of
real
the
quick.
few movies to have gotten an F cinema score, and don't we love it?
I disagree. You guys keep talking.
Score.
No, F cinema score is good.
Yes.
So the thing is, while we wait for Stuart to come back before I continue context, cinema score is like it's reactions from people as they leave the theater. It's like they post up outside the theater and they're like, rate the movie on a scale of F to A+.
Oh.
And so it's like it's what studios use for like audience reaction tracking. Because like IMDb reviews aren't reliable. Neither is like Letterboxd. Like it's the one way they can reliably figure out how does a general audience feel about this movie. Like critics might like it, like film fans might like it. What does the people who are just going to the theater to see this movie
the general population? Okay.
And it's interesting because it directly correlates with box office results. The higher it is, the higher multiplayer movies have. Like it's been proven essentially. There's 106 movies to have gotten perfect cinema score, A+. And there are 22 movies to have gotten an F cinema score. The thing about the F cinema score, if a movie gets like a D or a C, like it's probably a bad movie. If it gets an F, it's probably good. Because if the general audiences are so revoltant to this movie, that's kind of interesting.
Yeah.
What could that movie be?
Like, how bad does it have to be to get an F? Like, what other movies get F scores?
It's movies. I will run through some of them. We covered a movie on this podcast called Lucky Numbers, which got an F cinema score. It's a John Travolta like dark comedy caper. It is not that bad.
Yeah.
It's not like the best movie ever, but it's a very funny. It got an F cinema score. And that's kind of interesting to watch it through that lens. But why did people hate this so much? Janusz Kaminski, Spielberg's DP, he directed a movie called Lost Souls. They got an F cinema score. Steven Soderbergh, Solaris. Yeah, his remake of the Tarkovsky Solaris with George Clooney got an F cinema score. Good movie. Jane Campion's In the Cut got an F cinema score. Good movie.
F cinema scores?
Yeah. William Friedkin's Bug got an F cinema score. Richard Kelly's The Box, Killing Them Softly, Mother. Like, they're all interesting movies. Even if they're not good, they're interesting. A D cinema score movie is probably like just shitty movie that no one put any effort into. And F Cinema Score is like, someone put a lot of effort into it, and it is revolting. And we need to watch this and dissect it.
Yeah.
Mother, good movie.
What did Whale get on Cinema Score?
I actually don't know. Let me find out.
Be a good carryover transitional question.
Yeah. I believe it was good.
Why don't you get an F?
I cannot find it right now.
I'm just Googling Whale Cinema Score.
I did that too, and it didn't give me...
Didn't pop it up?
No, it didn't. I'm going on cinemascore.com.
Same.
Stuart, why don't you continue doing that, and I'll start talking about the pretext a little more. So Aronofsky, he wants to make this movie, and he sees apparently a trailer for Journey to the End of the Night, and like Fraser's intensity in it, and he's just like, what's that guy up to nowadays? And so he looks at him and is like, oh, this guy's perfect. Like, he's like kind of down and out, and I want this movie to kind of somewhat parallel a career. A guy who's down and out. And he has that in mind. He kind of puts it on the back burner a little bit. It's not until 2020 that Brendan Fraser has a big comeback. Aronofsky is looking at him, and the world is shut down. Film production is very hard to maintain during COVID, unless you're Tom Cruise and Chris McQuarrie, who did the most insane things ever. I listened to a 12-hour interview with Chris McQuarrie. It's crazy how they shot those movies.
What movies?
The new Mission Impossibles.
Oh, right.
The COVID production that they went through those movies is insane.
Yeah.
There's parts of the new one where one actor's coverage is shot in 2021 and the other one is shot 3 months ago.
Oh my God.
No shit.
It's crazy.
I could not find the
Cinema Score.
Cinema Score.
Sad.
You mentioned that Fraser's on an upswing and it's 2020.
Yeah.
But let's talk about his upswing, shall we? Before The Whale.
I'm not talking in terms of movies yet. I'm talking in terms of public perception.
Exactly.
Because we talked about last
That's why
week.
I wanted to clarify.
Yeah, of course.
That it's not that he got an Oscar nomination. Aronofsky thought he'd be good for The Whale, and then he won an Oscar. It's more so that, there's some TV things that he's getting known for a little bit. Although I think this is even... Or no, he was doing Doom Patrol.
Yeah, because Doom was the thing that I was like, oh shit,
he's back.
It was
back?
Doom Patrol, and he was doing some other TV stuff. No Sudden Move came out, but he has a pretty small part in that, and it's good. We talked about it, but it's pretty good. But you're right, it is like a public perception.
Yeah,
rise.
a lot of people rediscover The Whale or The Mummy and George of the Jungle and all these earlier movies during COVID as comfort films.
And that makes them read the GQ article.
Yes.
That came out in
2018, I think.
Something like that.
And that, it just kind of leads to this public reevaluation of Brendan Fraser.
Yeah.
And up swoops in Darren Aronofsky, who's been interested in this movie, who's interested in Brendan Fraser, and who also is looking to shoot a movie during a global pandemic.
Yeah.
Which generally means minimal background, minimal crew, minimal locations. What is better for that than an adaptation of a play?
Yeah.
And so this movie is formally announced in January of 2021. A24 purchases the rights to it. Darren Aronofsky and Fraser are attached. The rest of the cast joins in March. There was a period of time where this sounds like the worst thing ever, where James Corden and Tom Ford were looking to do this movie.
Oh my God. Then that would have been a comedy. Which one would have been Charlie and which one would have been the pastor?
Imagine that.
Yeah.
All right, my name is James Corden, innit? I'm the Whale, aren't I?
I'm just trying to do one good thing with my life.
I mean, that could be false information. That's scurrilous. It's through the Wikipedia references.
Okay, I was like, that sounds like IMDb trivia.
It's not
nonsense.
IMDb trivia, but I do want to say I wanted to say it because it sounds very funny. They should make that movie.
No.
That's a Saturday Night Live skit.
The movie, Samuel D. Hunter comes back to write the script for the movie. It's basically just the play with some minor changes.
Yeah.
They adjust the setting of the story. In the play is set in 2009. The movie is adjusted to 2016.
Yeah, because there's election stuff.
Yeah, that is one of the elements of the movie that was first thing to give me pause about it. Because I'm very much a believer, when you put stuff like that in your movie, you are making a point about it. Like
You chose a reason.
Like
to
you could have
the
put
election
anything
in there.
on that TV.
But you put election
You
stuff.
chose to put the Trump election with like they mentioned Ted Cruz and all that stuff on the TV. It's the 2016 GOP primaries. You've made that decision, so you are now making a statement about that. That's a very hard. You can't just put that on your TV and be like, "Oh, it's set dressing." And Hunter said he wanted the play to be before a major seismic change. And I watched the movie, and I don't see how this relates.
Yeah, the change doesn't happen in the movie.
Like I've seen movies where they like kind of use like, you know, it's tracking a family, and the Trump election happens like 2/3 of the way through the movie, and like it's saying something about that effect on American change. I don't remotely see how this movie correlates. To the election.
Honestly, I didn't even realize that they were talking about the election till the second time watching it through, because I wasn't paying attention to what he was watching on TV.
I know it. They shot this like almost like during the pandemic, if not like very, very shortly after. But just make it about 2019. Set it in 2019. Set it in November 2019 when like COVID's starting to become a thing.
I don't really mean to dig into too much, but it is. But just the fact that Hunter said he wanted this to be before a major seismic change, and then I don't know how the movie relates to that.
But you also include the fact they're doing video classes.
Yeah.
That he's essentially sheltering in place already. I don't know. It just seems like that to me, it feels like that's handed to them on the platter.
That's almost a perfect COVID scenario.
And they can wear fucking masks on set.
Yeah.
Like,
and so that's where like one of the things where I'm like a core issue I have with this movie is I think it's kind of sloppy in how it does its themes and interprets them. And we'll go more into.
And you're saying that is one of the examples.
Yeah, just that you put that in, said it had a point, and as far as I can tell, there isn't one.
Oh, okay. We'll get in more. Into
yeah,
that,
we'll get
but
more
I
into
don't
it with the
agree.
plot, but I just wanted to, that's in the pretext, so I just wanted to bring it up now.
Yeah. That's a good point.
The movie does get shot. They shoot it over the course of a month. It's a pretty quick shoot.
Yeah.
It's like 4 weeks. It
one
doesn't
location.
take long.
One
It's one location, group of actors. Fraser, really puts his heart and soul into this movie and performance, and I do want to commend him for it, even if I have problems with the movie. He wears a 300-pound prosthetic every day.
Jesus.
I mean, like, he's really not acting when he's walking in that suit.
And he had to work with a dance instructor to kind of figure out how he would walk with all that, like, excess.
Huh.
Yeah.
Because even if it is, like, the actual weight and it is a prosthetic, he's still going to walk differently than an actual, like, person of that size would.
Yeah.
Just because, you're not used to it, and it's, a thing. It's not your body.
Well, and there's a lot of interviews of them talking about the construction of the suit, that they wanted to be like obey the laws of physics and not just like a stomach that goes out 3 feet, that it would all just kind of drape down. I liked how, like, physically true it made it. He is now, I know Fraser's tall in general.
Yes.
But he is bit taller.
Gigantic.
He's like, and not, he's like, because the thing is, like, the height wouldn't really change that much, but he is like borderline half a foot taller to me, is what it seems like, than he is in real life. So I wonder, like, because there's like some parts when he's like, when he sits down and his like shins bend a little bit differently than how they normally would. And I'm wondering, like, is he like on like stilts or something, and those feet aren't his real feet?
Yeah.
That's something that I just wondered about, because he's just noticeably taller than what I imagine he is.
I imagine that they did, increase his height a little bit.
Yeah. Just towering.
That is basically all the pretext that I do have for them.
Yeah. Is there another clip that I think could...
Yeah, we could play another clip. Let's tune in with Taylor Hentrup, see what he feels about this movie.
Oh.
Hello, yeah, free. This is Taylor recording for The Whale in 3, 2, 1. So I was pretty excited to go see The Whale. I was a big fan of Aronofsky's The Wrestler, and I was hoping what that movie did for Mickey Rourke, the same thing would happen for Brendan Fraser. So I go see it in IMAX, in the largest theater I could find. I want to see every little bit of The Whale on screen. So I'm sitting there waiting to be enthralled by this story of a man fighting his inner urges and trying to reconnect with his daughter, just like The Wrestler. I'm sitting there, sort of enjoying the movie. There's some great performances, some pretty bad ones too. But a moment in the movie happens where Brendan hits one of his lowest points, and he starts chowing down on a pizza filled with mayo. And the score is telling you to be horrified, and this is a low point in his life. But I'm watching the screen, and I crack a big old smile. I felt bad, but I couldn't help myself. And because of that, I had to, actively try to get the emotions out of the film that it wanted me to. But it just didn't happen. A lot of it had to do, as well, due to Sadie Sink. Most of the film revolves around her, and I couldn't help but feel zero empathy for her. I think the saddest part in the movie to me is Charlie's insistence that she is this genius child, and Charlie being in complete denial of her evil side, whether or not she has it's due to birth or due to her home life. Could be both. But unfortunately, all of that really falls flat because Sadie Sink is the worst actor in the whole movie. She's not the worst performer I've ever seen in my life, but everything about the energy that everybody else gives in the film, I can't help but feel that she's easily the worst. She feels the most inauthentic of a very inauthentic movie, which is saying a lot. I wish it all worked for me, but it didn't. I like the funny eating bits, though.
Oh my god!
Wow, it's
Get
the
the
mind. It's
fuck
the
out of here
Minecraft
with your
bit.
Minecraft eating. First off, I don't know who that is. Taylor. Is
Taylor,
that his
Yeah.
name?
Trip. Yeah, he was a guest on the show.
He would be great at reading like creepypastas. He's got the tone. I've been listening to a lot of those recently, and he's got the perfect tone.
He's
for
got the
it.
voice.
He'd be like, "All right, he was in the forest, and then he found some stairs, and then he walked up the stairs." Like, yes, I agree. Good voice for creepypastas.
I think Taylor brings up an interesting point as we start talking about the plot, is kind of the movie's intentions versus the audience's reactions.
Yeah, I don't disagree with
Yeah.
Taylor, with what Taylor said. I think my biggest thing I'm gonna hold in this movie on why I feel the way I feel about it is personal connection.
Yeah.
And I know that's like very much like, it's a subjective thing, and I know people are just going to say like, well, but if you look into the objective things in the movie, and watching it a second time, because I remember Jeff, and you've been holding back some of your punches at me a little bit, because when I walked out of The Whale, when I watched it in theaters with you, I think you were
Yes.
there too.
No.
Oh, no.
Savannah and I saw it by ourselves.
I was enamored with the film, and I was just such a big fan of like what that movie did, because I have a lot of like connection with the movie that I can talk about and address later. But watching it again, I still hold that it's a good movie. I still think it's good. I have a lot of connection with it that carries me over. I do agree in a lot of the complaints about some of the performances. I think Sadie Sink. The thing is like, have any of you met? Does any of you know a Sadie Sink in your lives, or like in the past have known a Sadie Sink? Because I know her. Like I feel like I have met a Sadie Sink in The Whale before,
Yeah.
and that's why I like it. Don't get me wrong. Like the whole movie puts a lot of its crux
Yeah.
on her, and she's playing one note, and it's not a very sympathetic note. It didn't tarnish it too much for me though. I don't think it's a bad performance. I think it's just that was Aronofsky's direction, and that's what she was doing.
When I watched it the first time, that's one of the few movies that actually got me to tear up watching
Yeah.
it through it, because I do, like you were saying, I have a personal connection with watching this.
Yeah.
And, Sadie Sinks, I didn't think she was that bad. The
Right.
second time watching it, I mean, Savannah's like, oh my God, she's so fucking annoying.
Yeah.
Wow. And I'm like, I get it. But at the same time, she's a daughter who, in her eyes, got abandoned by everybody. I'm going to be an asshole too. You know
Yeah.
what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I'm not agreeing with what she did. Don't get me wrong. But I feel like there is some justifiable means to why she's such a piece of shit.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree.
To his point about Brendan Fraser stuffing his face with food, I'm like, some people react that way, right?
Yeah.
Like, I'm in a bad space. Food makes me somewhat feel better. Like when he's sitting on the couch the first time, and I don't know how much you want me to dive into this, but like when he eats the chicken for the first time, and I mean, he's just shoving it in
Yeah.
there.
God.
I'm like, that's
Yeah.
exactly why he's the way he is, because
Yeah.
he's coping with everything else going on with food, and that's the only way that he can do that.
And I'll go on to be as bold to say that people who haven't hit a moment in their lives where that's their coping mechanism, that would be funny to them.
Yeah. My problem with that scene, I actually think that scene is good. For what it's trying to. My problem with that scene, and we'll talk more about it when we get to it, going through the movie, is Brendan, he has this food binge, and the score is burm, burm, burm. It actually kind of sounds like the Mordor theme from Lord of the Rings. It's very weird. It's like burm, 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 burm.
I think it would have been better served if it was no score.
Well, I like the score in it. I like the scene. My problem is it's setting up this very intense attempted suicide kind of.
Yeah.
Through binge eating.
Yeah.
And then Ty Simpkins knocks at the door.
Yeah.
And Brendan just turns to him, and Ty Simpkins comes and he's like, "Hey, what's up, dude?" It's they talk. It's weird.
I agree with
it's
you.
It's very strange.
I agree with you.
Yeah.
It is
No,
very juxtaposed.
The way that's when he comes in with the Bible he found.
Yeah.
Right? So to me, that was he's on his way to just the self-destructive, and somebody is like, "Oh shit, I don't want to be caught in this thing." That's how I felt about it, but I understand where it's okay, wait a minute, why are we switching gears all of a sudden?
Because Brendan, isn't even expressing any issues. He's just binge eat all that stuff, and then he's like, "Hey, you're the priest."
He very quickly pivots his wheelchair, and other than a few stains on his shirt, you could not have tell. Yeah. You would not be able to tell that he just tried to commit suicide.
Now Justin, you said you saw this movie with Savannah, right? What did you think of this?
Savannah, I believe, didn't really have a problem with it.
Well, let's find out what she said.
Oh, wow. I didn't even know.
What is there to say about The Whale?
Yeah, tell me.
Well, easily it's one of Brendan Fraser's best performances.
Fuck, did she record this in the living room with the windows open?
You gotta get the car out of there.
Thank you.
And essentially, it is a very uncomfortable film. And that does not make it a bad film. Yet, it makes it a great film. Because art is supposed to question our comfortableness. Art is supposed to make us feel uneasy. It can also make us feel happy and sad and pretty much any human emotion. But a lot of things that people forget about is that art can make us very uncomfortable. And The Whale definitely made me feel uncomfortable in the best way. There are select few movies that you never want to watch again, only because they make you feel so uneasy and uncomfortable. The Whale is one of those movies. I will watch it again.
You had to.
Just because of Brendan Fraser and how amazing his performance is. But if somebody was like, "Oh my gosh, let's put on The Whale for fun," I'd have to say, "You're crazy." Because that film is not fun.
Taylor would disagree.
It's great. It's an amazing
If
film.
you rewind about
But it is not a fun film. I don't think anybody could have been in that role more perfectly than Brendan. He has been through so much and has dealt with so much that I feel like all the pain that he has endured just showed through his eyes during that performance. He deserves every award he got for this role.
I want to know when she recorded that, because we rarely are out of that house.
I can actually tell you, it was when you were away for a weekend.
Oh, so it was when I went home. All right,
yeah.
so it was last week. All right.
Yeah, she was one of the first people who submitted a...
it's funny, because we were talking about it this morning. Literally, she said around the same thing, because I was like, we were watching it, and I had to keep scrolling on my phone. And she's like, "Are you okay?" I'm like, sometimes I just need to get away from the headspace this movie puts me in. To me, it's a very miserable movie.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I mean that in a good way. But if someone was, like she said, if someone goes, "Yo, you want to watch The Whale?" I'd rather not. Oh, you haven't seen it? Okay, sure.
Yeah.
But because I tried watching it Monday, but the Monday before this, and I was like, I can't. I need a minute.
Yeah.
I just can't.
You need to approach this thing in the right headspace.
Literally.
I think that's a very good motto for the movie as a whole. You have to approach it in the right headspace.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm pretty much in lockstep with Savannah's thoughts and opinions. But should we get more like plot specific?
Yeah, let's start going through the plot. I just want to space these out a bit.
Yeah.
So.
We start with the bus stop. That's the first.
We do start with the bus
That's
stop.
the first image. Now, it's all in a wide, and when I first watched it in theaters, my first thought is, oh, is this Sadie Sink's character? But then I realized, no, it's the missionary kid taking a bus to Idaho.
Yes.
It's interesting that he's the first person that we don't know we're seeing that we're seeing in the movie.
Yeah. And it immediately goes into one of my issues with this movie, is that I think this movie struggles with perspective. Because ostensibly you think it's supposed to be from Brendan Charlie's perspective.
Right, yeah.
And I feel like for the first 75% of the movie, he's barely, like, doing anything. He's kind of a passive character who other characters are doing things to.
Well,
And
Jeff.
that could be a point of the movie.
Okay, yeah, you said
But I think that just kind of struggles, that makes it a struggle for me to find, a compelling narrative here. If I'm just watching all these other characters come in, dump their problems on Charlie and leave. Which I feel like it probably works better as a stage play. But when we start this movie with Ty Simpkins corner real quick. What were they thinking?
What do you mean?
I loved Ty Simpkins when he was in Iron Man 3. He's great in Iron Man 3. He's good in Jurassic World, a movie I don't care for very much. He took a few years off. And I don't feel bad saying this. Like, came back with two of the worst performances I've seen in years.
This and what else?
This and Insidious 5.
Oh.
He reprises his role from the first Insidious.
I still haven't seen Insidious 5.
He's very good in the first Insidious.
The one where he's a kid?
Yeah, where he's a kid.
Yeah.
He was a good kid actor. In Insidious 5,
He's
he has
asleep the whole movie.
in Insidious 5, he has like I struggle to describe. He has like basically like
Mullet?
a mullet and like a bandana. And he's like just walking around, Dad, you don't understand. The ghosts are still with me. And you're like, what is this movie? What is this performance?
I actually kind of wanted to see Insidious 5. Is it not? Is it terrible?
It's not very good.
Oh, man. That
I gotta
sucks.
go home and see Noah, Mother, and Insidious 5 now.
The movie really hinges on you being able to care about Ty Simpkins. And it's really hard with what
I don't know if it hinges on it.
what hinges on it.
I don't think so.
He's the main character.
Ty Simpkins?
Yeah, he's the main character of the new movie.
Oh, of Insidious 5.
Yeah, of Insidious 5.
Okay. Sorry, I thought you meant like...
sorry, Insidious 5.
Okay.
Yeah, the whale about Ty Simpkins.
Right.
The movie hinges upon Ty Simpkins being likable, and the whole time I'm just like, give me Patrick Wilson back. I like him.
Yeah.
And this movie, when you start off with Ty Simpkins, I'm initially like, okay, I'm going to be following this character's journey. Or at least I should care about it.
Mm-hmm.
Does he go on a journey in this movie? I don't really think he does.
It's a small one, but not one that's impactful.
And so, starting off with him and his, voyage to Charlie's house is it's a weird move, starting with his perspective. Because I think the movie, like I said, it has a problem with perspective, from my view.
Mm-hmm.
And just kind of, jumping between all these other characters, and we never really care about Charlie's perspective until...
I half disagree, half agree. Yeah. I agree that I don't think that's the problem of perspective. It's the problem of the choices they're making with the perspective.
Yes.
This is a choice of bouncing around between different people and coming back to Charlie on occasion, but him not really able to do much. I just want to read something because it's restated over and over and over again in the movie, which is, I felt saddest of all when I read the boring chapters that were only descriptions of whales, because I knew that the author was trying to save us from his own sad story just for a little while. So to that thing, I think Aronofsky made a very clear choice depicting every single person that comes in and out of the apartment are going through their own journey.
Yeah.
and they're masking what they're trying to do by taking care of Charlie, who in their head is like he's the grotesque monster that has to be like cared for. He's the main character of the story. But everybody knows like Moby Dick is not the main character of Moby Dick.
Yeah. It's about Ishmael, Ahab, all those guys.
Yeah, it's about all those guys. Now, do each of those individual pathways carry as much weight as they probably should have? No, I don't think.
And I think it's interesting that he says, "I found it during the boring parts about the whale's anatomy," and I'm like, "Buddy,
you're gonna make a comment about the rest of the book, The Whale, right?"
Yeah. So if you put a line in the movie, it's like, "I felt the most sad during the boring parts."
Well, because to Charlie, his life is the boring parts.
Yeah.
Well, I think Charlie's the interesting parts.
Well, but not to him.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
He doesn't. I mean, his whole thing is like an identity issue, right? I don't know how much you want me to get into before we get there, but like things happen. So to him, he's like, who would love me?
Yeah.
I'm the boring part. So that's why I feel like he identifies with that part, especially being the whale, because he believes he's the boring chapters in everybody else's like story.
Yeah. And it's an interesting approach that I think probably works better on a stage.
Well, I think it can work in a movie, but what I don't disagree with, what I agree with you on, Jeff, is that if that's the structure the movie's going to be, then each individual plot point has to like really matter and have 3 act structures in each. Because I agree that Ty Simpkins has Act 1, not really Act 2, and then like a very hastily rushed Act 3. Where it's like, oh, I'm actually not a missionary. I stole money from my parents and my church, and I'm running away, and I'm doing this missionary stuff on my own. Oh, Sadie Sink just, whether she was trying to hurt me or save me, got me back in touch with my family. The end. Sadie Sink. It's like I'm a brooding, evil teenager who hates the world, hates life. My dad's gonna offer me a lot of money by making me fix some essays. And then by doing that, I'm going to realize that I am a smart and loved person who has like weight in the world or whatever. Like so that's the choice that the filmmakers are making. But something that I wish the movie did more so was like, I think there's a reason why the most powerful scene in the movie is with the mom, Sarah.
Yes,
Sarah,
Mary, played by Samantha Morton.
There's a reason why that's like probably one of the most like powerful moments in the movie, because it's yet another sailor, you might say, having an encounter with this whale and going through a journey in that regard. And I think that is essentially what I think Aronofsky was trying to do, and that's why I haven't seen the play, I've not read the play, but I imagine that's very much kind of what the movie is. It's like the entire movie takes place in a house, but it's like the first 10 minutes is somebody coming to his house, having a whole journey, and leaving another different person. Another person comes through, has a different journey, leaves a different person, until eventually like you're left with just Charlie dying or whatever. Maybe that's just what the play is, whereas the movie has to like kind of
space that out a little more.
Spaces it out, and it's also like it's trying to make like each individual has a 3-act structure, while Charlie and everybody within it has a 3-act structure. And I think that's where the muddiness comes from.
I can understand like the issue where it's like you get kind of this one character's problem, they disappear, they come back, they're not really on that problem, something else is going on, or the kid keeps coming back to be like, hey, Jesus saves, shit like that. But then eventually it's like, oh, well, I'm done. I understand like the issue with how people have about that, because they're not really going, here's this character's problem, we've solved it, here's the growth in between. But I don't think those people are the most important pieces. They're the boring chapters to us.
Yeah, and the thing is, they're the boring chapters to us. Whether it's because of performance or XYZ.
Yeah.
But the movie is still playing it as if they're the important stuff.
They're the important stuff.
The final scene of the movie is entirely dependent on Sadie Sink feeling like she's freed, and thereby giving Charlie freedom. And if I'm just not compelled by any of these stories, I spend the first 3/4 of the movie entirely being like, I don't care about any of this. Anytime we cut to Charlie, I'm compelled by his story. Let's do more of that.
Well, what story are you compelled from on Charlie's perspective? Like when we cut back to Charlie, what interests you?
Just learning about his psychology.
Interesting.
Like, just what made this guy the way that he is.
So you want more about what's going on in his head versus...
I want more. I want the movie to be more from his perspective.
You want to understand why he cares so much about an evil demon teenager,
Yes.
not
This
the
is
scenes
child.
with him and the evil demon teenager.
Yeah, like
Okay.
the movie. I mean, it kind of a big thing about this movie is that it kind of operates on either end of the spectrum and not in the middle.
Mm-hmm.
It's either kind of yelling at you what it wants you to feel,
Yeah.
or it just isn't, giving you anything about why it feels like why this is happening, and you're just kind of supposed to dig into it.
That I agree with 100%.
Because you can infer that the reason that Charlie cares about Ty Simpkins is because he has a daughter who was led astray, and he also had a former partner who died at the hand of the church that Ty Simpkins works for. And he teaches a class of children. And you can kind of dig like, all right, the reason he cares about these people is because he cares about his daughter. The movie never draws that connection for you.
Mm-hmm.
You kind of just have to be like, I think that's the reason why he cares so much about all these other kids.
Mm-hmm.
Or is it because he wants to leave an impact? The movie never draws like the connection. And so you're forced to connect it. And then the other half of the movie is him being like, I need to make sure I care about one thing in my life, which is a great scene in the movie.
Mm-hmm.
But we need the middle ground.
Mm-hmm.
We need the middle ground where the movie is like, developing themes and just kind of playing them out and letting you understand this character more.
I agree.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree with that. I think what we did explore with Charlie just really affected
Yeah.
me a lot.
I agree.
Yeah.
My main contention with this, my main issue with this movie is that I find his story very compelling. And I wish the movie was as compelling as the story that character deserves.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
Because a lot of it just comes off to me as like misery for misery's sake. Like it feels like we're punished, like we're just watching this character be punished, without really getting anything on our end out of it.
Well, that would be an Aronofsky movie.
Yeah, that would be that's an Aronofsky move, and I get it. But there's only so much of that as a viewer of a movie that you should be expected to take without getting something in return.
Well, I think, again, halfway agree, halfway disagree.
Yeah.
I think I agree with we're left too much in the middle on this movie.
Yeah.
And it needs to pick a side. And I think Aronofsky almost made a contention by writing that last scene the way it is. Because if it was a true Aronofsky movie, she would have finished reading the essay and then left, and he would just died alone.
Yeah.
That's how an Aronofsky movie, a true Aronofsky movie, would have ended.
Mm-hmm.
But it's an adaptation of a play.
But it's an adaptation of a play, but part of me just wonders. It's like kind of what you were saying. It's like where some people do just like in the Aronofsky theme of it. Some people will and do just die alone and fat.
Yeah.
Like,
Mm-hmm.
and Charlie's probably not going to be any different. And that's, but they don't go with that. Instead, he gets up on his legs, walks to his daughter, and ascends to heaven.
Yeah.
Like, which watching it a second time, I was like, that is pretty ridiculous.
I'll be talking about
agree.
that more when we get to the end.
I agree, it's pretty ridiculous because only because it should either end with them not talking and her just sitting in the room as he passes away, or them never reconnecting and he dies alone. And Sadie Sink can be replaced by multiple characters too. It can be replaced with Ty Simpkins. It can be replaced with Hong Chow Liz. It could be replaced with Mary. It can be replaced with anybody. It can be replaced with a pizza delivery guy.
Yeah. I think
Imagine if that's how the movie ended.
the pizza delivery guy.
Well, like Sadie Sink reads the essay and she just says, I don't know what you expect from me, walks out the door and he collapses on the ground and he's like hyperventilating, about to die, and there's another knock on his door and he can't even say anything and he opens it and it's the pizza delivery guy.
I think that's so miserable.
But
Well, here's the thing.
Justin,
It'd be rough.
Yeah.
That'd be a whole other...
that's a whole other layer, that it's the pizza fucking delivery
it
guy
would
that's
round-
with you in your last
I
moment.
like that the movie is about his redemption. And I like the ending in concept. I think you have to build a bridge to that heightened of a finale if you're going to do it.
Yeah.
But I like the idea and concept that this is a movie about him reconnecting with his daughter.
Yeah.
And I think, why do we have all this other fluff? Why are we
Ty
spending...
Simpkins fluff.
Why are we wasting all this time with Ty Simpkins? I like the Hong Chow character. She's fine. Like, that makes sense that she would be a part of the story.
Mm-hmm.
Why do we have all this time with Ty Simpkins? We don't need the pizza delivery guy. Like...
I so disagree.
Like,
I love. That's probably my favorite parts of the movie, Jeff.
I like the parts where it's just the pizza delivery guy, like, he knocks on the door and they have that little like relationship.
Yeah.
That's kind of that's kind of fun characterization. I don't like the part where he like opens the door and the pizza delivery guy looks at him like he's disgusting. It's just like, all right, we get it. We get it. The movie is all on a dolly track around him. We get that he is disgusting. We understand.
That was the part that I was like, what the fuck, man? Like, you knew you wanted to see this guy. You see me go,
and what did you think he was going to look like? Guy's ordering 2 pizzas for himself every night. What do you think he was going to look like?
That's literally what Savannah said when he hopped. She's like, what the fuck did you expect? Like, he won't come to see you.
All right, before we play our next clip, let's just go through like logistical like plot points. So because he's on the bus.
We can knock this out in 50 seconds.
He's on the bus, and we cut to... you can. I mean, I like to spend a little more time on it, but... and then we are straight to him jacking off to gay.
Can I say, I'm in the theater, right? I sit in this theater. My girlfriend and I believe our roommate at the time was there to watch it, and I'm like, I can't wait to see Brendan act his ass off. I'm so ready to see what this guy's about to drop. Like, first scene, and it's a bus, right? Guy gets off or whatever on the bus. It's like, okay. And then it does the classroom, and it's slowly zooming
on
in.
a black screen.
On a black, and I'm like, oh boy, what are we gonna... Brendan Fraser's just jerking off.
Yeah.
Like, cuts, and he's just... And I'm just like, this is how I not expected to see my hero right now.
It is, like, the best, like, because the movie's built up, like, marketing-wise as, like, watch Brendan Fraser come back in this Oscar-winning performance.
I know.
Your favorite actor from The Mummy, George the Jungle, look at him act his ass off and be depressing. Oh, boy, I'm so ready.
I'm just like...
jerking off to gay porn. I mean, that was my... you could not have started that movie with a more perfect opening, in my opinion.
Yes.
To just show you what you're about to be in for.
And then for him to be interrupted by a missionary.
Yes.
it like the laptop's still open and the missionary not just running out for like to save his life. So yeah, he's jerking off to gay porn, and then he gets like heart palpitations or whatever. He gets like part of his heart congestive failure. Knock on the door. Ty Simpkins, the missionary, comes in. What's his actual name in the movie?
Thomas.
Father Thomas. Missionary Thomas. Thomas the missionary. I don't know.
Thomas the
Tank engine.
I don't know. Thomas the tank engine. Comes in and he sees him. He's like, oh my God. And sees Fraser, with Pornhub, gay porn open.
Yeah.
And then immediately Fraser, Charlie's just like, read this. And he hands him like a little, some pieces of paper, and he starts reading it. It's a part of an essay written about Moby Dick.
Yeah.
And it's going to be repeated like throughout the entire movie, but of course Ty Simpkins like, why do you want me to read this to you? He's like, just read it.
Yeah.
For the love of God, just read it. And so
that's actually a pretty good Brendan right there.
and so he reads it, and he's able to like calm down.
Yeah.
And then that's when he's like, wait, so who are you? It's like, I'm a missionary from the church. I'm here to spread the gospel.
New Life Church.
Get the fuck out of here.
Talk about Jesus Christ. And he's like, what? And then shortly after, Liz, this is Hong Chau's character, comes in, who is his caretaker, who works as a nurse full-time, comes home to take care of Charlie. And she's immediately like, get the fuck out of here. I don't know why I give her a Boston accent, but it's just like, I don't want to see you fucking new lifers.
Take
and
your shoes. Get the fuck out of my house.
Yeah. But yeah, and then she takes his blood pressure. She's like, what were your symptoms? It's like really hard to breathe, chest pain. It's like your blood pressure is like 280 over 134.
Yeah, it was insane.
Which is like, you're dead.
I was just like, when he's Googling it, I'm just waiting for Google to be like, you're dead.
You're just a dead person. And so, but she says, yeah, you have like stage 3 congestive heart failure.
Yeah.
Like, you need to go to hospital right now. He's like, no hospitals. I don't have insurance.
Yeah, he can't afford it.
Yeah, we don't know yet that he actually has some money, that he's just like a teacher. who teaches English, I'm guessing.
Yeah,
English of some
writing,
kind, writing of
English,
some
something
kind.
like because he was like rewrite.
Yeah.
Like composition and essay writing. Is,
Yeah.
I think kind of what his subject is.
And so then, he's like saying no hospitals, not going to do that. And so then she sits on the couch with him. They start watching something, and then this is where it was the first moment I started crying in the movie when he's like, Liz, and she knows what he's asking her to do without even saying it, because there's a bucket of fried chicken
tearing up at that. I didn't cry. That movie did not make me cry, but god damn it got me pretty close.
I immediately started tearing up at that first scene, and then she eventually answers, gets him a bucket of chicken, and he just starts raw dogging it.
And like I said, this dude, I didn't think there were bones in it, because this man's just like shoving it in his mouth.
Yeah. So I mean that I think that's a very good like pause point if there's like
you want me to play someone else?
Well, I don't know. And other than that, from what we've talked about to that point, I'm already like kind of like into the movie.
Yeah.
Like that first like bucket of fried chicken scene. Yeah, I mean teared
Little bit
up.
of chicken fried. Cold beer on a Friday night.
If Zach Brown played
Pair of
while he
jeans
was
that
eating
fit
that,
just
I would have
right.
killed myself.
I would have actually bawled and cried.
With the radio. All the country boys just start clapping.
They all so
This
like,
movie makes $2 billion in
you're
the
in the
South.
theater, and then behind you, it's like every dude in a cowboy hat and boots, cold beer on a Friday night.
The movie theater attendants come out with buckets of chicken. Just to
What?
Oh,
I'll play someone else.
yeah.
So let's tune in and find out what Mark Tilley thought of this movie.
this motherfucker.
Hi, Jeff and Stuart. This is Mark Tilley. Stuart already
Justin.
knows this. I don't like The Whale. All respect to Stuart. I love Stuart.
Thank you, Mark.
Yeah.
I love you too.
Talking about this movie stresses me out.
I know.
I don't like it.
I know you
I
do.
don't think it's very good. I don't think it's made very well.
It's okay.
But that's okay.
That's it.
Have fun.
That's all besides.
That's all he's got to say.
Honestly,
I respect him. I mean,
Yeah.
he didn't give any specifics as to why he thought it wasn't very well made or what, but I respect anyone's opinion if they don't
Yeah.
like this movie and think it's well
Yeah.
made. I respect your opinions. I respect, and on a very contextual, surface, objective level, like I see a lot of problems with
Yeah.
it, especially on the second viewing. I'm like, yeah, Ascension to Heaven, not very well thought out. Sadie Sink, kind of playing one
Yeah.
note. Ty, what the fuck, Thomas?
Yeah.
He is kind of just popping it out the most
Yeah.
random, inappropriate times in the movie. Like, absolutely.
Yeah, I'm really struggling to just like I struggled on the second viewing to like kind of stay locked into the movie. First time when we saw it in a theater, I'm in a theater. It's impossible to not pay attention to the movie when you're in a theater. It's very hard. Second time at home, I kept like mentally zoning out for a little bit. I'm like, I need to focus on this movie. Because it's just I didn't really care about what was happening for a lot of the runtime.
Yeah.
I did that a lot during the second rewatch, but that was more for me to be like, I need to get in a different headspace for a second so I can come back to watching this.
Were you zoning out at the boring whale parts, Jeff?
Boring whale parts. All the parts with Ty Simpkins or
so not
Sadie
the boring
Sink.
whale parts.
No, I was into those parts. Whenever it's just Brendan on screen, it's kind of like, yeah, he's-
When the movie says it's supposed to be the interesting parts, that's when
Yeah.
you were zoning out.
yes.
And I agree with that. I agree with that argument. I think the whole point of the movie is trying to say, like, Charlie's life shouldn't be the interesting thing. It should be all these people. And the movie doesn't quite do that. Really.
Yeah, it doesn't quite succeed at the flip.
Yeah.
Well, it's almost like it's telling you these are the interesting people, but this is the actual interesting person, right?
Yeah.
Because to me, it's like that's what they're trying to do is be like,
Yeah.
oh my God, look at these people that are trying to help them. This guy is running away. This is like the ne'er-do-well. This is like his helper.
And I feel like the movie is structured in a way that it's trying to start off with you like kind of also being repulsed by Charlie.
Yeah.
Like it wants you at the beginning to kind of be like, God, what the fuck is wrong with this guy? As you're interested by these other stories, but it's Brendan Fraser. And at the beginning, I'm like, I am compelled
sad.
by this guy's story. I'm sad for him.
Yeah.
And the movie doesn't have to do all the legwork to be like, no, you should actually feel empathy for this guy. And I'm like, you got me. I came in. I'm feeling it.
Stop
I'm feeling it.
Stop punching me. I got it.
And I agree with that because I walk in because it's a double-edged sword. On one hand, you either feel bad for him because it's Fraser and
Yeah.
you don't want like seeing him in this kind of
Yeah.
state, or on the other hand, you have personal experience in that,
Yeah.
and you don't like seeing that,
Yeah.
and so you feel sad. People who walk in and see people eating chicken and like if Aronofsky be like, I want people to walk in the theater, see him eat chicken, and be like, who the fuck is this guy? This disgusting. You know who that audience is? toxic people.
Yeah.
Like that's
Like,
just that's toxic people.
Who went onto their AMC Stubs app, scrolled to the whale, and said, "I'm going to go see this repulsive man." I'm going to go see
movie looks
I'm going to see this
fun.
movie about this repulsive man.
But I agree with you, Jeff. It almost
Yeah.
seems like that is kind of what Aronofsky is catering to in the first act of the movie.
That's what that's the thing about the movie is it assumes that you
Are
don't feel for this guy, and that it has to do the work to make you feel for
in
him.
which case, bad casting.
Well, that's the thing, right? So, like, because if you know going up to this what Brendan Fraser's gone through, it's like, fuck, man.
Yeah.
He gets like his first big movie in so long, and it's like, it's this.
It's wild to make a movie assuming that your audience is not empathetic.
Yeah.
I feel like
Yeah.
most people who watch movies
Very well said. Very well
have a sense of empathy.
Yeah.
That Roger Ebert has the great quote where he says, the point of like existing on this world is to have empathy for each other, and movies are a machine that generate empathy. I don't understand why you would make a movie assuming that people are coming in without empathy and they'll leave with empathy.
Part of me feels like it's just one of those, like, the wound's open, but I'm gonna keep punching it. Till
Yeah.
you
There
fucking-
are back up what you just said. There are movies. It's rare to have movies where it's expected you to come in without empathy and come out with empathy.
Yes,
There are movies that are like that,
there are.
and I'm on the cusp of thinking of one of them.
I can
That's-
think of one of them, and it's also a complete failure of doing it.
what
Joker.
Oh.
Joker wants you to come and be like, guys, didn't the Joker get a raw deal? And at the end of the movie, I'm like, no, he didn't.
You know, that's the thing about that movie is anybody that walked away that was like, you know, the Joker's not that bad. I'm like, you're a fucking psychopath.
Wait, so you're saying the movie wants you to come in thinking he's an evil person and coming out that he got a raw deal, or
Yeah.
coming in to think he got a raw
the first
deal?
one.
Coming,
You should, because like essentially, if you go to see a movie called Joker, you're like, I have seen The Dark Knight. I have watched Batman the Animated Series. I know the Joker is a bad guy.
yeah, you're going into a movie about a bad guy.
You're going into that kind of like with the idea, like, I know what he's going to become. You know he's going to be this monster.
And the movie wants you at the end of it to be like, don't you know, society failed the Joker.
But society.
And
why is that wrong?
I think it's an interesting idea. I think Todd Phillips is a very bad director.
Ooh, damn.
He's so, you know what his good movies are?
What?
The Hangover 1.
But no, why is it wrong that the Joker got a raw deal, society, based on what the movie's saying?
It's less an issue of the thing it's saying and more how it's executing it. I think
him on top of the car with all the people around him, he's doing the smile.
yeah, that the execution of Joker is basically just watching a guy do terrible things and delight in it, and then being like, you know, it didn't have to be this way.
Delight in it, you think?
He's thrilled by the end of the movie.
Part of me,
He's loving it.
I feel
Part
like
of
he's
me-
drawn to doing the things at the beginning of it, though.
I think part of me feels like the Joker starts off by showing you the system is failing him.
Yeah.
Because he's trying to get that help with his therapist or whatever the whole deal was with that. And then, I mean, obviously he's got a lot going on because, like, the fake girlfriend,
Yeah.
all these fake scenarios.
There's so much salami on the sandwich in that
There's
movie.
a
It's
lot.
great.
I mean, he fires like too many bullets in the gun, and that's like Phillips's way of hinting at he's not all there. You know,
Yeah.
he has a revolver with 6 shots, and he fires like 8 or some shit. Like he fires too many.
and the rich guys, he's drawn to doing that.
Because, like, kind of if you watch, when I watch Joker, the message I get away that Todd Phillips is saying is, if we don't help mentally ill people, they will all turn into supervillains and attempt to kill us all.
I don't know.
That is kind of the point of the story that movie is
That's
making.
what I got. But, I mean,
That is what he's saying with that movie.
Well, Jeff,
I'm not
I'm about to almost agree with that.
like.
Now, with how the country's running right now, Jeff, I almost think that we might be on point with something right there.
Which I think, to me, it's kind of insulting to people with mental issues.
Well, no, it's not the people with mental issues that I think of the
Yeah.
folks with mental issues that might ruin
Yeah.
this country.
I would.
There are crazy people
Yes.
who, if we don't get them help, are going to ruin this country.
Yes.
Jeff, like, that is true.
But that is
true.
a very different thing than
Right.
what
No,
Joe-
no, no. Yeah.
Yeah.
And you know, like, I don't even
Joe-
have to verbalize that I'm talking about a different group of people.
In Joker, it's like
Mitch McConnell.
the Joker is saying if we don't get this poor man with schizophrenia help, he will murder Batman's parents.
I think that's
Wait
where like
one
the
second.
mental illness part is where there might be like a thread of like disconnect. Only because like other than like him like being like heavily abused and having problems and then having like that laughing thing, like he doesn't have schizophrenia.
He has something.
He has something because he's imagining an entire relationship with a woman. He's imagining too many shots in a gun. He's making this weird threaded line where he is, based on like his mom because he's like Thomas Wayne's son, stuff like that.
To me, I always thought that he didn't have like a debilitating mental illness.
I got that,
but maybe I'm wrong.
They initially hinted at him and that girl not being a couple.
Well, here's my thing: if he doesn't have a debilitating mental illness, and he only has like a mild mental illness, then the movie is now saying if we don't get people with some issues help, they're going to turn into supervillains.
I mean, I'm one bad day away.
It's very stuck on the whole like if people with mental.
Yeah.
I think it's just like society is held by such a small thread of peace and order, and all it takes is the belief of one person. Doing the opposite that could tip it on its side.
Because even that was the fan theory of the Joker movie, was that the one we saw isn't the Joker that we know. He's the one that inspires
the real
mantle.
Joker, right? Yeah. And so I guess that's kind of where like my thought was in like the thread of the movie. I'm not saying like I agree with the points it's making. I'm saying like because the whole revolution starts with them thinking the Joker killed these rich guys to make a point, and he didn't. And I think what the point that I interpreted from the movie is that this whole peace and order that we're mirage that we're veiled that we have is like by such a small thread that all it takes when the balances are so unscaled that all it takes is one tiny little thing
Leveling.
that people can attach like meaning behind.
All you gotta do is shoot Robert De Niro and you're set.
Well, I mean, it was the rich guys
The guys
in the subways
Yeah.
that did it. But him shooting Robert De Niro was like, that was the complete flip of the movie where it's like, okay, but wait a minute. Now it's not like now it's not a movement
It's
about.
like nobody can hurt me now because I'm the Joker. And it's
Well,
like, okay.
it's like it's no longer about eating the rich. It's just about causing chaos, and that's where the whole thread about the movie kind of turns upside down.
Todd's very sloppy. Is my issue with him.
And do you think Darren's sloppy in The Whale?
I think Darren is sloppy. Darren is not typically sloppy, but I do think he is sloppy in The Whale.
Interesting.
To bring us back to The Whale, we could do a corner on Joker, but we never will.
No.
Because all right, I'm going to say something really crazy.
It's okay.
I think the first Joker is like terrible. It's like a very bad movie that I never want to rewatch again. I kind of think Joker 2 sounds good.
Because it's a musical?
They're telling me this is a movie that is a musical mostly in the head of the Joker with Lady Gaga, notorious actress known for her subtlety. Playing Harley Quinn. I'm like, that kind of sounds what I want the Joker movie to be, is kind of just this absolutely insane drug trip of the Joker dancing around shooting people.
I was going to say, I think I read it mostly takes place in Arkham Asylum, too.
I'm like, that kind of sounds good. I don't think it will be, but it kind of sounds good. I'd see that.
So after he eats the fried chicken.
Yes.
No,
I'm not going to do it again.
it's okay if you want to.
No, I'm not gonna.
You can. He gets
Well, because it's Tuesday now, right? Because this movie takes place within a week.
Yeah, and he is. What are you doing? Sorry, I just want.
That was not what I was trying to bring up.
What are you doing?
Oh my God!
Oh,
Struck.
I just turned the volume down.
I noticed.
Okay. So at any rate, you gotta let me know.
I'm just turning it back up.
Okay. What happens on Tuesday? I'm a little
I
lost.
believe what happens is he wakes up. I don't know if it's on Tuesday, it might be Monday night or whatever, but he wakes up and she's gone, and that's when he goes to bed, right? That's when you see him go lay down for the first time.
Yeah, because that's when we see him take his shirt off and he's walking.
And he's fucking, and that's the first time he really gets up, right? Because he's huge.
We see that a little bit in the very beginning
Right.
when Liz is helping him, but that's the first time we see him with his like shirt off and like walking across the hall, getting into bed, and see him like fully splayed out. Essentially, that's like the full display of him.
Feels like 8 feet. Like he just feels insanely tall. when he
Yeah,
stands
that's
up.
what. Yeah, that's what I was saying earlier. It's like they definitely heightened his stance like greatly.
But
in
then
this.
he's essentially quoting that essay again about Moby Dick,
yeah.
emphasizing the the most boring parts about the whale, and he sits in bed and he gets like the little hand thing to turn the light off.
Yeah.
Drinks the what I'm for sure is a flat Diet Pepsi that's just been opened by the bed.
Yeah.
Yep.
Because he drank that. Because I was trying to find like funny little tidbits to write, and I'm like, there's really not a lot to put down. And he drinks that Diet Pepsi. I'm like, bam,
That's one.
that's flat as hell.
Yeah,
I know
well,
it.
The funny tidbit is it's the can I get 2 Big Macs and a Diet Coke? The diet.
When
it's
when
funny.
does he? You're talking about in real life?
In real life, like
Okay.
it's kind of doing that here. It's like he's drinking a Diet Coke,
Yeah. Right.
which I don't mean to make super fun of, but it's kind of funny.
I love Diet Pepsi.
My grandfather did that. He would just have like a whole 2 liter of Diet Coke, just as his bottle. Just like as soon as I saw that, I'm like, aw.
I think Tuesday.
So when I meet Ellie,
Yeah.
he knows he doesn't have long to live.
Yeah,
so-
because that's when he does like the internet research stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So he calls his daughter Ellie, played by Sadie Sink.
Because prior to that, he's leaning on the kitchen sink, looking through essays, and he's opening up. This part I was a little bumped by because he opens one drawer and there's like fruity granola bars, and it's clearly like the healthy
Yeah.
drawer. And then he opens up the other one. And it's obviously his snack drawer.
Yeah.
And he doesn't spend any time looking at the healthy drawer at all. So that's not even the choice in the scene. The choice is whether he's going to eat up 3 Musketeers or not. And he starts off, no, I'm not. And then he says, yes.
Well, because he's looking everything up, and they're essentially like,
You're
you
gonna-
need help.
you're gonna
call
die.
911.
So then his response is to then stuff his face more.
Mm-hmm.
And then he decides, wait, no, I'm not going to do this. He puts it away. And then the next scene is when we get Ellie, Sadie Sink. So, which like this movie won the Oscar for best hair and makeup. And I know it did that because of the prosthetics.
Yes.
I do have to say, like, what was the Zoom call like with the head of hair and makeup? And when they finished 3 hours of the 3.5 hour meeting,
Yeah.
where out of the 3.5 hour meeting, 3 hours was based on the prosthetic suit,
Yeah.
and 30 minutes was spent on the rest of the characters.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
wherever
Sadie
the fuck
Sink
you
got
want.
like 2 minutes, and it was goth
Yeah.
teenager. So that's what her look is like the entire movie.
It was
She's
like,
a sad-
Sadie, just wear whatever clothes you
She's
got.
a sad girl.
Sad girl, goth vibes, hates everybody.
I also want to say I do like Sadie Sink as an actress. She's good in the seasons of Stranger Things that I watched. I want to say this as I am going to be very negative
Oh
about her
my-
performance here.
This is the worst motherfucker.
If folks listen, I'm not a T Swiftie, I'm not, but you should go watch the All Too Well extended music video because Sadie Sink plays the younger version of Taylor Swift, and she's really good in it. And even though it's a music video, she's really good in it.
Okay.
And Dylan O'Brien plays the Jake Gyllenhaal figure in that because All Too Well is about Taylor
Jake
Swift and Jake
Gyllenhaal.
Gyllenhaal.
That's funny,
I'm not a T Swiftie.
but it is funny though.
but you've got a lot of information about this
yeah,
music
you got some
video.
knowledge.
Hey, you say I'm not a dreamer, but I'm not the only one.
Basically, the structure of day 2 is Ellie shows up. And she's like, I don't even know why I'm here. And he's like, because I wanted to see you. And she's like, great. And then she's like, I'm not staying. And she leaves. And she's getting ready to leave. And he's like, I'll pay you. And she's like, what do you mean? He's like, I got $120,000. I'll give it to you if you just hang out with me and let me work with you on your essays.
Now, how many of you immediately after hearing that number were like, whoa?
Yeah, I was like,
What?
wait a second.
And then he's got money?
It does make sense when he says it.
Yeah.
Because he's like, yeah, I don't pay for anything.
Mm-hmm.
Like
I pay for rent and food.
Yeah, rent,
And
food,
internet.
and that's it. I don't go out. I don't
Yeah.
do anything else.
Mm-hmm. Doesn't
So-
drive, so
And she has the whole thing of like, well, you're just gonna rewrite my essays for me. And he's like, well, Ellie, like I think it would. I want to know that you
Yeah.
gained something
I
from
want you to
this.
get something out of this.
So I'm gonna give you some notes and rewrite some stuff.
And she's like, no, you're right. And then she just scrolls TikTok or whatever it is. It's like it seems like a very like caricature performance.
It is.
She's very much overacting, and I think Ty Simpkins is underacting. And then the scenes with them together are just very funny.
I don't disagree. I say though, like I feel like I've met a Sadie Sink. I feel like I know who that girl is.
I have definitely met a Sadie Sink in The Whale in real life.
A Sadie Sink type, yes.
Full blown Ellie Sadie Sink. I have met and know they are real.
I believe that they're real.
Now,
I went to high school with one.
but just because a performance is true to the caricature, does it take away any of the sin that it's just a caricature?
No.
Right. So that's why, like, I don't fully disagree. Like, I do think it's very one note. Have
you met an Italian father? They're all caricatures, but it doesn't mean when you watch a movie, it's like, hey, gabagool, how you doing? That doesn't make it any better.
Yeah, exactly. So I don't knock it on her performance. I knock it on the writing and directing. I think it's more so that, like, I think she was kind of told to just do one note.
Yeah.
And there are opportunities when she could have, like, done something a little bit different. Maybe put in a new tone.
The ultimate performance I'll always use for one note, an actor given a one note script and turning into a 3-dimensional character.
Philip Seymour Hoffman
in Mission Impossible 3.
Yeah.
Philip Seymour Hoffman is maybe one of the worst. He's like a very poorly written villain in Mission Impossible 3. His name's Owen Davian and he's a arms dealer, and that is all that there is to his character. And Philip Seymour Hoffman just comes in and is like, I'm gonna find her, I'm gonna hurt her.
It's very much just like the airplane sequence is when you get it the most.
That's the line I was doing.
They kidnap. Have you seen Mission Impossible 3? They kidnap this arms dealer, and then it's Tom Cruise, prime Tom Cruise, I will say.
He's looking good.
2003 or whatever movie.
2006.
2006. Tom Cruise. Fuck. Because he is just they got Philip Seymour Hoffman strapped, which Philip Seymour Hoffman hasn't aged since Twister. You know, until he died, obviously. But he's looked the exact same for that stretch of years.
Yeah.
They're immediately questioning about this doomsday device or whatever. Like, where's the rabbit's foot? It's like, what's your name? Like, just got that annoying tone behind it. It's like, you have a wife. I'm going to find her. I'm going to hurt her. Like, I was like...
It's this incredible performance out of the most thinly sketched character.
Yeah. It's so good.
And meanwhile, Sadie Sink is delivering a thinly sketched performance to a thinly sketched character. And she's very young. I don't want to fully knock it on her.
I don't think it's a performance. I think it's the writing and directing.
It's the writing and directing, but she could have brought more to it.
I think if there was an opportunity for her, and if she failed at that, then I would say she.
But
had
there's
a bad performance.
always an opportunity. She could have found something.
I'll give her a little bit of grace at her age, but I will also say, like, I don't see any. Where in the script do you think there's a moment when she can, like, turn a new emotional lead?
She can better help us understand why she is the way that she is. Because what the movie gives us is she doesn't have a great relationship with her daughter. She doesn't have friends, and her Facebook account is her posting pictures of dead dogs
and her dad.
Okay, well, this is a really crazy character. Why? Give me something in your performance.
Well, because she mentions how her mom really isn't. A part of her shit either, right? Because she's like, well, mom drinks, her mom takes all these pills, blah 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 blah.
My only point, and I'm not saying I totally disagree. And I would pose this question for the audience, and I'd pose this question for everybody. It's like, give me a line that she can perform differently that gives us a new emotional leap. I don't think there is a line. I think the entire thing was written and directed in one note. Because how can she say you disgust me? But if she says it in a different performance note, that's not broody evil teenager. That's my only point.
You disgust me.
Well, right?
There's a way, and I don't know if I can figure it out for myself. I'm not an actor.
No, I get it. And and I might be wrong. People will probably paint a scene. Maybe someone out there will be like, the scene with her and Ty Simpkins. Take the same lines, take the same blocking. There's a different way to perform that and give us a new leaf.
When everybody's been talking about how they feel about, that's the only scene where I'm not. That's the part that makes me iffy for her performance, is the one between her and when she meets Thomas for the first time.
That's
take a hit of this
scene.
Take a hit of this. Do this.
Yeah.
I'll call the cops and say you tried to rape me. Blah 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 blah. And it's
because ostensibly her personality is because she is trying to deny an inner feeling and an inner empathy.
Yeah.
She's something of an audience surrogate in that way, in the weird way that we talked about earlier.
Yes.
And so I think there's a way she could play that element, that this is a performance she's giving. but we never see underneath that performance. We never get a hint until the very end of the movie that she's just performing. We're like, no, this is just like a person. She posts a picture of her dad on Facebook and says there will be a grease fire in hell when he burns.
I was like, that was kind of fire.
Yeah.
Like he says, she is amazing. She has
That
an
was good.
incredible way with words.
She roasted his
was
ass,
really
and he's
good.
just
I
like,
took a picture of the screen.
I just think that and I'm not totally easing it off of her plate. I do think there's some performance problems, but I think a large chunk of it's writing directing. That's all.
I would agree.
That's my only opinion on it.
I think it's a 50-50, even,
Like Hayden Christensen, I bet he's actually a pretty good actor.
he is.
But you can't act the episode 2. Like you can't put any
Yeah.
like twist on those, like I like sand. You can't put a different emphasis on that line to make it digestible.
Yeah.
That's why I think, that's where I kind of feel with Sadie Singh's character. In my opinion. Other I don't dismiss other people's opinions though on that.
I feel that. So they make their deal, and then the rest of the movie kind of just bounces between those three characters, kind of in a sequence. It's like
Yes.
we get a scene with Liz, we get a scene with Ellie, we get a scene with Thomas. We go back to we get a brief moment with the pizza guy, and then we loop back to the beginning. We go through him again over the next 3 days.
I think the pizza guy is supposed to be like the break, right? Okay,
He
this
is kind of the act break. Yeah.
Well, because it's like, hey, he's like, oh, money's in the mailbox, yeah. My name's Dan, by the way.
I just
What?
didn't really clock that. The pizza delivery guy is the act breaks in
Yeah.
the movie.
He is.
It's like the nice little like, okay, I can catch my breath while Dan's just trying to know more about this guy he's been delivering pizzas to apparently every day.
Yeah. I think this is a perfect
Yes,
moment
I
to
agree.
listen to another.
So let's tune in with Dave Manzolillo, former guest of the show. Let's see what he thought about The Whale.
Oh, Dave.
That's what we got.
Thank you, Dave. I
You know
appreciate.
what, Dave? I don't know you.
Yeah.
Um,
I would have liked to hear more about. I would like to have heard more description because I bet Dave has a.
Yeah.
I wonder if he had any other opinions, but
You
I
had me
get
at
it.
the but the
It was the
it was the lead up.
it was the lead up for me.
I was waiting for like 4 scores and 3 hours ago.
Yeah. I feel like we should get another one in. Just
We only have 2 more.
so we should
Yeah,
we gotta spread them out.
we should save it.
We should save it. You guys keep talking. I gotta pee again.
Oh my goodness.
Damn, man.
It's the buy boost.
It's running
I
right
was gonna
through.
say it boosted your bladder.
Yeah, it really did. For folks in the audience, I've been clean off a Red Bull for 3.5
Ladies
weeks.
It's
and gentlemen.
crazy.
Thank you. I didn't do that deliberately to get applause.
But yeah, we just basically bounce through the 3 characters for the next 3 days. And we've mostly, I feel like, addressed a lot of the plot points. So I don't want to spend too much time like going through
Everything
what
all over
what
again.
they're all doing. But basically, like, Ty Simpkins continues to come and preach the gospel to Charlie. And Charlie, I actually like the scene where he's like, have you
Cornering
ever
him.
read the Bible? And Charlie's like, I found it devastating. He's like, God creates us in 7 days, sentences us to 1,000 years of killing each other,
Right.
and then takes 144,000 people to heheaven and sends the other 7 million to hell.
Right.
I like that. That's funny. And Ty Simpkins is like, I don't really have a response to that. He's
Checkmate.
like, I found it devastating.
That's the worst piece of shit I've ever read in my entire life.
He said it's the most like emotion, which like I always find a fun read, like reading the Bible as essentially like an epic piece of like literature. That's always an interesting way that I like to approach like those stories. It's like
Reading the Odyssey or something like
yeah,
that.
it's like it's a really interesting like story that's being told in that book, regardless of your thoughts on the religious aspect of it.
Yeah, it's just Christian mythology.
Yeah. We're saying that there's the scene where Time Kinston and him are talking about the Bible, and it's like I kind of like approaching the Bible as like this epic piece of literature because it's kind of interesting just to like read it as like literature.
Yeah.
Um,
Right.
But that's basically the extent of that scene with.
Oh, wait, where he steals the Bible and comes back with it? Or
What he was saying is that we've kind of almost covered everything that happens after this, and he didn't want to spend more time just going by day by day by day.
Yeah, I want to emphasize that when we revisit his class,
Yes.
maybe his class is like the act break.
I feel like that's another one because
Yeah.
you really
This is an 8-act.
yeah well because you have the boring bits, you have the whale,
Yeah.
and then you have the pizza guy who's apparently just really interested in Charlie's life,
Yeah.
and then you have his day job or his every other day job.
Yeah, I feel like the first class bit is just him being your standard old English teacher, being like, listen, guys, like, trust me on this. You want to try to, write something and, we're going to have papers due next week or whatever. And the second one, he's adding a little bit more flavor of like, hey, like, write something honest, okay? Like, you're just describing. And that's what he's telling Ellie on those things. So it's like, but tell me how you feel. Tell me like a truth about it. And that's all of that is kind of like progress later in the movie when eventually he sends out that like email to the class, be like, fuck the
this.
essay, fuck the class, fuck college, just write something honest. And it's interesting. Not that I think it sticks the landing on this point, but I think there's a build up to a point here where we see his frustrations the most are with his class, with his like kind of like students who he perceives as just giving in phony work, whereas where we see him the most like kind of like cheerful and happy is being berated by Sadie Sink, who's giving him the most guttural, blunt, honesty about everything.
Beautiful.
Well, because you
Right, that's what I mean. It's like it's almost overtly.
Well, because like you find out that this essay that he keeps reading whenever he's having like a heart attack or whatever's going on is something she wrote 4 years ago or some age. It was like
when she was 8 or something
some
like
shit.
that. Yeah.
But so he's like, it's a great description or whatever. So when she's assaulting him, she's using these different words, I guess, that he's just like, this is real. He's a teacher that wants you to write real emotion.
Yeah.
Right? Because even in his thing, he's like, I'm tired of don't just write to write it. Write to feel it or whatever.
Yeah. Something
And
like
then
that.
even when he's reading everybody's responses, the one that always sticks with me was, I got to accept the fact that my life's not going to be very exciting.
Yeah.
And I heard that this morning. I was like, son of a bitch. Like,
My favorite was my parents really want me to be a radiologist, and to be quite frank, I don't know what a radiologist is. And how he reads that, it's like, that's very good. I like that. That was good.
That
shit.
is funny.
Yeah. Did you guys already talk about the Sadie Sink Ty Simpkins scene?
We like touched it, and I said, don't want to touch
more
it.
of this.
Well, like, what is there to say?
Well, there's like 5 different points that this scene could be making.
Yeah.
But in my opinion, it doesn't stick the landing on any of them.
well, because that's initially like when him and her seem to be making progress, right? Because she goes to make him a sandwich, and she's like, I'm not going to put mayo on it. I'm going to use turkey instead of whatever. That's all you're getting.
Right.
And then he's talking to her, and she's like drilling the knife into his...
Yeah, because any compliment she gets like a visceral reaction to. And I think that's something that Charlie's trying to break down. Because I think one of my biggest things is, and I think even it was either Taylor or somebody else who mentioned it, that she is berating him, but then he just responds with kindness of like, you're so smart, you're so amazing, you're a great person. And when we get the great scene with him and Mary, and she's like, you have to realize, like, she's awful. And he's like, she's not awful. She's not evil. She's not any of these things. Like, I think he just knows that, like, he's been called all these things all his life, that all it would have taken for him is just, like, one person like Alan, his lover, who gave him that sort of semblance of love and appreciation that he's trying to kind of pass on to Ellie.
Well, I think that's the thing that... He said his name's Taylor, right? That Taylor said. That was the first one we listened to.
Yes.
The second
Maybe,
one.
yeah.
Well, because he was like, I don't know why Charlie's like, whatever, like just letting it happen. I'm like, well, that's his kid, right? And I've known many kids that are just the most royal pieces of shit.
Yeah.
Like doing whatever the fuck. And the parents are like, well, that's our child. I can't tell this kid to fuck off or eat my ass or whatever, you know.
You can.
I mean, you can.
You
but,
absolutely
but
can.
But some parents can't do that.
Right. Yeah. And I think he doesn't want to because he, A, has no moral standing to because he hasn't been a father for her. But B, knows that that's not what she needs. She doesn't need, she needs like, she needs what she's been missing, which is like that nurturing father figure. And so I don't, it doesn't bump me as much as it might bump other people that he just responds to her over one note monotone aggression.
Yeah.
With kindness. I kind of buy into it.
I
Personally.
buy into his reaction. The thing is, like, for him to be seeing that in her, I think the audience also has to be seeing that in her. We have to be seeing, like, some semblance of there's a kind person behind that. We have to be seeing this honesty that he's seeing. And, like, Brendan is giving a powerhouse performance, and so I'm kind of like, well, I guess, like, she's being honest, but there's nothing in her performance that leads me to be like, yeah, she's probably a better person underneath.
I agree with that. And I also agree with Fraser's performance that leads us to almost try to buy it.
Yeah.
Because it's his response is to be like, see, that's a very, and she says like Walt Whitman's like a fucking gay dude who's trying to whatever, not
overrated 19th
century. He's like, that's an honest
that's
take.
A real take.
And his performance in that line is so good that I'm just like, yeah, that is an honest, good take. Like, I do kind of buy into that. Whether that hurts the movie because you don't buy it off of Sadie Sink's performance is valid.
Yeah.
I personally have enough of it to, I buy Fraser's performance enough to buy it for myself.
I mean, again, I feel like a lot of people that really like this movie for whatever reason relate to it on some personal level, right? You know, a Sadie Sink, you've gone through some type of thing that makes you feel like you're Charlie in that situation.
Yeah.
You know, so it's like, well, yeah, you know, you're trying to help this person out. They really haven't been the best to you, but you're like, I see what other people don't want to see or whatever. You're just somebody that needs help.
Yeah. Yeah. Absolutely.
Someone to be like, put the pen down, honey.
Yeah.
Don't smoke weed. Don't put Ambien in my sandwich.
That's a wild thing that she does.
Well, because I was like, I remember watching it and I was like, why the fuck did he just randomly fall asleep? Like, your daughter's there. And then when Thomas gets her, she's like, yeah, I put like 3 things of Ambien in. I was like, oh, shit.
Yeah, it's a very insane thing to do.
Honestly, this whole movie, I thought it was going to end with her killing him.
I kind of, when I first saw it in theaters, I was starting to think that too.
At first, when she was like clawing the knife into his like counter, I was like, she's going to kill this dude.
Something. Yeah. I was feeling that too.
So we get the finale to Thomas's story, which is he comes in, he's like, my parents are going to take me back.
Well, did you guys talk about Mary coming in with Sadie Sink?
Not yet.
I think that happens before.
That happens first.
And it's the most. I think it's the most powerful scene.
Let me
in the movie.
finish up this Thomas
He really just
storyline
wants to
so we
rip
don't
into
have to
Thomas.
talk about him again.
Okay, fair.
He shows up, he's like, my parents are going to take me back thanks to your daughter and you inspiring me to call them. And he's like, that's great. And then Tyson like, can I preach to you? And Charlie's like, sure. Not really. And then he's like, you know I'm gay, right? And he's like, yeah, that sucks. You're gonna go to hell.
Well, right, because when he's doing the whole smoking schweed with Ellie, he goes into his partner's room that's been like cocooned. No one comes in. No one, and
he's
comes
like, yeah,
out.
I think Alan died because he's gay. And Charlie's like, what the fuck?
Literally, he's like, Alan had this passage highlighted that he was for the sins of the flesh versus his spirit, and that's why he's in hell.
It was interesting that we went through that whole scene with him and Ellie of him breaking down his barriers to Ellie, but yet him not changing one bit. Really.
Yeah,
he gets out of a bad thing.
Why do we need this character?
Well,
let's get rid of him.
Yeah,
let's cut him out of there. Make this a crisp 90-minute movie.
I think either replace him with someone better or put more time with Liz.
Yeah.
I think he's supposed to be like that weird religious output that Charlie and Alan threw away.
Yeah.
Obviously,
that
because
keeps coming back.
That keeps being like because you needed a reason to find out that Liz's brother is Alan, and that's why she's kind of been a part of Charlie's life,
and why
and Alan killed himself essentially because of the church, and they shut him out.
Yeah.
So I feel like that he's just kind of it's not the best way to do it, but he is like the reasoning to be like, to bring all of this emotion back out.
Yeah, as you say it, like you need that religious outlet factor of the piece, but I can't argue that like Ty Simpkins is the best person.
I'm not
personification of that.
I'm just saying that's how it came across to me. Yeah. I'm not like Ty Simpkins deserves best supporting actor or anything. Don't get me wrong.
Right? No.
So, Stuart, you want to talk about Mary, right? The wife.
Yeah.
What if there was a wife?
Because this is after Sadie Sink and Ty Simpkins just get done with that whole dialogue scene in Alan's bedroom, and he walks out and she's there, and then there's a knock at the door, and then both Liz and Mary, which is Ellie's mom and Charlie's ex-wife. So she walks in, sees Ellie and sees Thomas, and immediately they kick Thomas out right away.
Yeah.
Get
They're
your
like,
bubblegum dum-dum ass
like,
out of my apartment.
You get the fuck out of here. And then they wake Fraser up, and Fraser sees Mary, and it was
my wife.
It was Liz who contacted Mary. Liz has been like this anti do not talk to your daughter.
Well, they make it sound like he legally cannot talk to her.
They do and then you find out that no, it was more so that she just won the full custody battle, but then didn't want him involved in parenting of any kind. So then they're all talking down to Ellie about like, you fucking drugged him, and it's like I knew it wasn't gonna kill him.
I only put 3.
I only put like 3 in there.
What?
And then they're like, you get the fuck out of here too. And so then Sadie Sink leaves, and then that's when and then Mary's like, how much money is he paying you? And then Liz is like, he doesn't have any money. Mary's like, oh, so she doesn't know. And then it comes out where he actually has like $120,000 in the bank. Liz and Charlie have that little debacle.
Honestly, that was the only point in the movie I was like, Charlie, you son of a bitch. Because she's like, my truck literally broke down in the winter, and I walked.
He would have helped with that if it was an emergency.
Well, because she's like, I only thought it was $700. You know what I'm saying, though?
Yeah.
It's the only part. I'm not like, fuck Charlie. I'm not on that train. It's just, that's the only part I'm like, dude. She's getting your groceries. She's walking in the snow.
She's taking care of you. She probably kept him alive for an extra 3 years.
If that,
for all we know. So, and then Liz storms out. And that is not the last time we see Liz?
No, she comes back one more time after he does the last broadcast.
Right, yes. And so then it's just Charlie and Mary. And they kind of have their heart-to-heart scene where Mary is very much like, Ellie is a demon from the 9 circles of hell. Charlie's like, no, she's not. Maybe you're just a shitty mom. He doesn't say that outright, but it kind of gets brought up. It's like, I didn't want you to see her because I thought this would be a reflection on me as a parent. And he's like, no, of course not. But then it's like, well, but then why are you here trying to do all this stuff? And that's when it kind of comes out. It's like, I want to make sure that's when he delivers on like, I want to know that there's one thing in my life I did right.
Yeah.
That's the hardest line in that movie.
And he delivers it very well.
And he delivers it very well. And then she leaves. And then that's when he
goes on his binge eating, which we talked about.
Binge eating, which Taylor very eloquently put it.
Yes.
He's putting like mayo on or ranch.
He's putting ranch on a pizza.
It's great. I've done it.
I mean, yeah, I have to.
I will not.
I'm not a big ranch fan, but I did it once.
Ranch.
Because it does that. Thomas shows up. That's the last Thomas scene, and then basically he wakes up on the Friday. He talks to all of his students and tells them he got fired.
Yeah.
Because essentially he put like, fuck all this, blah, blah, blah.
Which I think we kind of talked about already. Is all those addresses.
And then he turns his webcam on for the first time. Yeah. Shows them what he looks like, and everyone.
It's very weird.
Because, I liked that part.
He shows them what he looks like,
and
then he goes.
I was like, can you imagine if you forgot to put pants on that morning or some shit? I'm like, you just flashed your whole glass.
He is just like he's showing them all of him.
Yes.
I think that's him finally coming to terms with, this is who I am, or this is this is the end of the road.
Yeah.
In case you wanted to know, this is what I look like, fuckers. Charlie out, and then just tosses
the laptop,
all the shit.
And it just breaks. It hits the fridge.
We should listen to the second last one. I feel like I think we're getting to
Yeah,
that point.
let's listen to the second to last one. This is from Francis Hutchison.
Oh my gosh!
As a video.
Hello, Stuart. Leaving a soccer game after.
Why is she just addressing
and
me?
I'm sending this video after being harassed by Jefferson for many a day for forgetting to send this in. But my thoughts on The Whale. I watched it on an airplane. Went to Italy and I watched 4 movies. I watched The Fabelmans, Ticket to Paradise, She Said, and The Whale. The Whale was the second of those films in which I viewed in one time frame. And I'll be honest, I liked it. I thought it was pretty nice, but it just didn't hit the way I thought that it would, to be honest. You know, like, I thought Brendan Fraser was good, but in terms of, like, characters, I wasn't particularly compelled by them. I don't really even know how to phrase this. I just thought that there wasn't much character development, and, like, shut off my tape if you completely disagree. Jeff, it'd be really funny if you totally, like... Hello, Stuart.
Oh, God, now I gotta find the
completely
point.
disagree. Jeff, it'd be really funny if you totally, like, cut out my thing there. But do your
Yeah,
editing
Jeff,
as
that
you
was
will.
really funny.
It was
And
Way to go, Jeff.
I just thought that the characters didn't develop very much as I thought they could. Like, Sadie Sink's character, I just kind of consistent. And the ending, I thought it was goofy. I thought it was goofy how he floated off the ground. I thought that was straight out of Cornville, USA. And overall, I think it was well executed for what it was, but I don't think what it was is what it could have been, if that makes sense. It didn't necessarily feel like it was done to justice, the story, or the sort of lifestyle it's depicting. But that's just one kid's opinion, so cheers, Stuart.
I have to ask Jeff, how did you text all these people? Can you send your thoughts?
I told them all I was going to surprise you with this.
You're gonna surprise me with
Yes.
this, so that's why it's addressed to me.
That's why she addressed it to you.
Okay.
Um,
Did you tell them that I really like this movie?
no, I did not tell anyone that.
You didn't tell anyone my thoughts?
I just told people that we were looking. I'm surprising you with people's thoughts on The Whale because it's a big episode.
I know when we were texting trying to find out a time for me, you're like, don't worry, we will find a way to get your opinion out there.
Yeah, if you were unable to do this episode, I was just going to include you in this.
Hell yeah.
Um,
I actually liked the movie. I thought it was very well put together.
Well, Francis, thank you for putting in your opinion. I
Francis.
respect your opinion on this. I do think that I have to disagree with your analysis the most out of everybody we've heard. That I think that every single character develops in this movie. Now, they may not develop organically. They may not develop in the most graceful way, but Thomas does have, like, a new outlet that he's going to be doing.
there's no development in performance.
He picks up drugs again.
There's no development in performance, but
Thomas starts doing drugs again. That's growth, baby.
and there's development in Ellie, but I agree that, you know, a lot of the performances felt like one single note, but I just think it's factually untrue that no one develops in this movie.
My
That's all.
only 10 cents about that opinion, because I don't know them that well, so I can't really get away with saying whatever I want, is try watching it not on a plane.
I am with her in this. I agree with Francis in that the character, I don't feel development from these characters. I Brendan develops, like, Sadie Sink's development is in her final 20 seconds of screen time.
That's still development.
And yeah, but like for an hour and 57-minute movie,
There's a lot of movies where a character is the exact
I-
same until the very, very end.
I think I'm fine with her not expressing the emotion. That's what you want, was more like emotion that she was having at the end.
I want to understand her better as a character and feel her growth through the course of the movie instead of it just all being like ratcheted.
I think the part where that affects it is because it's only in a week time frame. So she hasn't seen her dad since she was 8 years old. So she comes in and she's like, fuck you, you piece of shit, you whale, you monster.
You whale.
But then essentially she finds out on Friday, the last day, he's dying.
Yeah.
You don't have this chance anymore. You don't get this opportunity to be like, fuck you, dad, when you this whole time have probably been missing having that father figure or whatever, you know. That's why like her whole not showing a growth or emotional connection anymore minus like when he's complimenting her and she's like, fuck you.
Yeah.
That's where it doesn't bother me, because it's like you had what you thought was a longer time frame, and then that's when we see Liz for the last time, where she's like, yeah, he's dying. Like, this is it.
Yeah.
Finito.
Yeah.
And then Sadie Sink's character is like, oh, fuck.
Yeah, I got to do it all now.
You know?
Like, that makes sense, but is that good drama?
I think Aronofsky is more. I think every single Aronofsky I've watched, it's more set on the what happens in real life versus drama, and I think that's what happens more often.
I think from a movie standpoint where you want a growth in everything, it doesn't do well. So that's why some people don't like it, because you don't get like the beginning, the middle, and the end. You know, you get this character on Monday whose life is falling apart, and it continuously seems to just keep getting worse and worse until Friday, when it's like the end.
Yeah.
And that's where the child's like, I'm not going to see my dad after this.
You want the 8-minute scene where Oscar Schindler breaks down and says, I could have saved one more
Not
person.
even that, because that is what you get at the end with her. I want, Oscar Schindler having an emotional arc through the movie. I don't want to watch 90 minutes of a boring-ass movie to get 20 minutes of emotional payoff.
Nah,
I don't feel
agree to disagree.
I don't feel any
That's all I'll
interest.
say.
I mean,
that.
again, I understand. I understand where you're coming from. Just to me, it makes sense because of the time frame, and I don't watch a lot of This is like the first Aronofsky film that I've watched. So to me, it's like, this is just life. This is how life happens. It's not like a BoJack Horseman where Charlie keeps doing things to fuck himself over, and it's like, oh man, why does life suck? It's this guy's life is falling apart, and you're just witnessing it get worse and worse and worse till he's dead. And that's the only part of this movie I do not like, is the end when he ascends to heaven.
I got some thoughts on that.
It's a bit goofy.
I mean, well, we're basically at the end now.
Yeah.
We're on Friday.
Where like he gets her to read her essay on Moby Dick for him, and then he stands up and starts walking towards her. He's gonna like face death head on.
Anybody?
That's good.
And then
him getting up and walking to her is good.
Yeah. And then she finishes and he goes, oh, and he looks up,
and then
his feet lift off the ground.
Flash of white, directed by Darren Aronofsky.
Well, no, they quickly get a shot of them on the beach, and then
because it shows Fraser's feet, because that was the one trip him and his ex-wife were connecting over when she was laying on his chest, listening to his heart.
Yeah,
because he's like, you remember when we went to the Oregon, blah blah blah. Oh,
it's crazy because I actually watched a longer edit of the movie, where he lifts off the ground. And then I tell you, this just happens. He just starts floating, and he's flying through the sky and just whipping around. It's crazy.
Wait, is this a bit?
This is a bit.
Okay, I just wanted to be. I was like, wait a minute.
No, that's what Jeff's doing right now, guys. He's doing a bit.
Just this morning when I was looking up the whale, I saw a tweet that says if they do a whale part 2, they should do a scene of him doing this, and it's Neo flying in the Matrix. And it's just like imagining him taking off and just.
Would you call it Whale 2: The Blubbering?
The Whale 2 Reloaded. The Whale Reloaded.
Yeah.
The Whale Revolution. No, be called the Whale Resurrections. Clearly. He comes back.
It sucks that it's like the second to last image of the movie of him like doing the whole like
That's the part where it's
sucks.
like you kept the stage play part, because even Savannah's like, that's probably when they shut all the lights off and you're like, oh my god, what a play. Like, I get it as a play when you want to be like, oh, I've ascended, but like,
but why not just like cut to black? Like, he
know?
doesn't ascend. Why don't you just like cut to black?
Part of me was also scared they were gonna have him fall.
Everybody thinks that. Everybody says that. It's like, I just thought he was gonna fall on her.
I honestly was like, I was just
her.
well, because he's walking to her and he stands there smiling. I'm like, there's no way this ends like this, right? Oh, wait, what?
It ends even
It's
more
goofy.
bizarre.
Francis, you were right. It's goofy.
That's the
I
only
agree.
part.
The ending is goofy.
Yeah.
Just that one bit.
Yeah. That's the end of the movie.
That is the end.
There is no after credit sequence. I looked this morning. Just to
Well,
be
no, he
safe.
takes off and he's flying through the air, and he goes and he fights Agent Smith.
Yeah.
So, do you want me to jump into the post-text?
We got one more clip to listen
We
to.
got one more clip to listen to. I'm going to save it for a minute.
Okay. Cool.
because it's Jeff's recording. How Jeff?
What if it was my recording?
Bless you.
I know who it is.
You know.
I know one. I know one voice I haven't heard from yet, who I know has a very powerful comment on this movie.
Yeah.
So I'm waiting to. Yeah, you can't hide it from me, Jeff.
Yeah.
Like it's only one person
so
I ever heard.
This movie is filmed for a budget of $3 million.
Yeah.
$3 million. It's very small. It makes $54.8 million. It's
Hell
a
yeah.
incredibly successful move for A24, entirely driven by the Brendan Fraser comeback narrative. Like, this movie doesn't make that much money if it's not for the fact that he has like this comeback narrative around it. It probably makes like
I agree.
$5 million.
Yeah, I agree with
If like
that.
Russell Crowe was in it or something. Oh yeah, I'm a whale. That was beautiful. But this movie makes so much money, and then it gets like above average reviews. I would say like it's Rotten Tomatoes average is 64%. The average rating is 6.6 out of 10.
Which makes sense. I
Yeah,
feel
it's
like
it gets like an average 3 out of 5.
half
review.
the audience gets like really attached to this movie, and the other half, which I think is most of the half that we've kind of heard from.
Other than Savannah, I think everybody else did not like this movie so far.
Well, Savannah was positive, and then at minimum, I think Taylor and Francis were both like the movie kind of worked for me.
Yeah.
So we got like 2 kindas, 1 enthusiastic, and 3 dislikes.
To quote,
Yeah. Now, what does Cole have to say?
I'll tell you in a minute. So, contingent fact on this: if the strike is not resolved by the time he is asked if we can cut this out, so I'm giving you a cut point.
Fair. Okay, I'm gonna type this in. We're 2 hours and 37 minutes in.
Oh my God, this is a long episode.
Yeah.
that's the whale, baby.
Actually, should I finish with the post text before this, or should I just do it?
Well, just do it before we do final
Yeah.
thoughts.
Okay.
When we listen to him before final thoughts.
All right, I'll do another thing
Okay.
when we get to it. But post text, so the movie gets like decent reviews. It does go on to get nominated for 3 Academy Awards. Brendan gets nominated for Best Actor. Hong Chow gets nominated for Best Supporting Actress, which I think is kind of a cool nomination.
Well deserved.
Yeah. She had been like in the running for a bunch of Academy Awards over the past few years and just hadn't gotten nominated yet. Like, I think she was almost nominated for what's it called? Downsizing.
Oh,
That's
yeah.
where Matt Damon gets made
Oh my
really
God,
small.
I still haven't seen that
Yeah.
movie.
That's Alexander Payne, isn't it?
It is.
Is it a pain to watch?
Not that much of a pain, but
I have not seen it, but I heard it's like okay.
it's okay. Yeah.
And then also gets nominated for Best Makeup and Hairstyling. It wins Best Actor and Hairstyling for Brendan and the
Hair and makeup,
team.
which makes sense.
Yes, it makes sense. It's like it's a good nomination. They're good wins, and I obviously like that's major for Brendan. That's major for this podcast.
Yeah.
That's like a big development
Yeah.
point.
It's great that he was in a great movie.
It's great that he gave a very good performance in a movie that's like okay occasionally.
It's great that he was in a movie that moved a lot of people.
Yes, I will concede that.
Good job, Stuart.
I will
found the
concede.
I don't
that.
get a lot of this. I don't get a lot of these.
I know.
I think this is a movie that I can't just fully do a bit about. Like, you know, that we have to have a discussion.
It's really hard to do a bit on this one because again, I usually
I
try
found
to
ways,
find.
but-
I mean, you found them, but like I even tried. Like I had a notes app open because I love writing down the
Yeah.
funny little tidbits, and I had like 2. I think I had obviously him jerking it in the beginning, and then and then the heart. I had the asking for the bucket of chicken was like very heart wrenching.
Yeah.
Yeah, and so it's Brendan's most successful movie in a while. It's a major like accomplishment for his career.
And just factually, it's like this is weird because I know we only cover movies, so it seems this way. But if you include movies and TV, it's like it's not very gradual because he gets like some popularity from Doom Patrol, and then you see his face again in No Sudden Move,
And then it's this.
and then it's this. So it's very kind of like a sharp rise.
Yeah, he gets cast in this, or he does this, and then he gets cast in Batgirl and Killers of the Flower Moon very quickly after.
Yeah.
I think you see his face in Doom Patrol. Like they do flashbacks and he's in it because there's like a meme that went around with him and like I think ironically a bucket of chicken and beer. He's walking around like his rich person house or some shit.
Gotcha.
But Brendan's been very honest that this has opened up a lot of doors for him. Like, he says this is the first time in his career he's been able to be selective about the scripts he's getting.
Good.
Like in the past, he's just taken what he's gotten.
Yeah.
But he said specifically after this movie, like he's been getting a lot of offers, and he can be choosy about what he wants to do. He wants to do something that compels him and interests him.
Yeah. That's
And
great.
thus far, the 2 that he's chosen were Batgirl, which is never coming out. But
Which,
we'll be able to talk about it because we maybe have some inside scoops next week.
Yeah, we'll get there when we get there.
And then
a Scorsese film.
Killers of the Flower Moon, which will be our final episode of the show until he comes out with another movie.
God damn it. It's just like, after talking about Travolta for fucking 70 episodes, it's wild to think of an actor who goes through a slump, who gets a second chance and learns the right lessons.
Yes.
Like, thank fuck.
Like Travolta would not have taken a supporting role in Killers of the Flower Moon. Probably. I mean, maybe he would. Maybe he would.
After Pulp Fiction?
Yeah.
Like, no. Like, after Pulp Fiction, he was only taking leading man roles.
Yeah.
And but that's the thing. It's like, Fraser here is not afraid of being like, yeah, I just won an Oscar. I'm going to be a supporting actor in a Scorsese movie.
And last night, I went to go see A Haunting in Venice. The new Kenneth Branagh Poirot movie. It's very good. But I went to go see it in Dolby, and they played the Killers of the Flower Moon trailer twice before it. I don't know what was going on there. They played it twice.
Just so you knew.
And the one shot of Brendan in that trailer, it's the newer trailer where you see him just like turn towards the camera and go, and he's like smiling at De Niro or something. He's like a money monster or something. I'm like, yeah, he's back, baby. Every time I see it.
I haven't seen the trailer yet.
It's so good. I'm so excited to talk about that movie.
Yeah.
That's like my reward.
It's like a reward.
It is like a reward. Yeah, that's my reward for that movie. And
are we ready to?
I think we can hear from Cole.
Hi, this is Cole Bradley from the Above the Title podcast, the best and
Get the
only
fuck
podcast dedicated
outta here.
to discussing an actor's career filmography. Can't think of another one. Jeff has asked me to dial in and share my thoughts on The Whale, which is bizarre because, like, I feel like The Whale has been pretty well discussed at this point. I'm not really sure what there is you need me to say. Like, you don't need me to tell you that The Whale is fucking atrocious. Everyone knows The Whale is atrocious. You watch The Whale and you walk away being like, that's one of the fucking worst movies I've ever seen in my life. You don't need to tell me that it's, like, so bad that it has like erased all the legitimately good to great movies that Darren Aronofsky has ever made.
At all
you don't need me to tell you that no one involved in the making of that movie has ever met a fat person in their life. You don't need me to tell you that Lee Batik seemingly went blind before shooting that thing because it looks rotten. Like, just drab, bland, just hideous. You don't need me to tell you that the fucking Moby Dick metaphor is the most hackneyed, overwritten bullshit garbage that I cannot believe anyone produced.
What happened?
You don't need me to tell you that Fraser winning over literally any of the four men he was nominated for the Oscar against is like an all-time embarrassment on the Academy Awards. You don't need to tell me that Sadie Sink literally cannot act to save her life, and I do not understand what the appeal of her is. You don't need to tell me that this movie is so bad that somehow Samantha Morton, fresh off like fucking grabbing She Said and just spiking it in the end zone, is somehow like really fucking like career worst in The Whale. You don't need to tell me that actually Hong Chow is quite good in The Whale. You don't need me to tell you any of these things because everyone knows these things. It is apparent to anyone with a brain the second they have seen The Whale how fucking bad everything about The Whale is, except again, Hong Chow, quite good. When's she bad? Really, when's she bad? Did you see Showing Up? She's so fucking funny in Showing Up. Regardless, there is an aspect of The Whale, though, for as much as this movie is terrible, and everyone knows it's terrible, and everyone just loves to talk about how terrible it is. And I'm sure you guys have just done 20 minutes of talking about how terrible it is, because why would you want to spend any more time talking about The Whale? There's one aspect of The Whale that has gone under-discussed, and that is what I'm here to talk to you about today. And that is that Ty Simpkins probably gives the single worst performance in a major American motion picture in a decade at least. I do not know what's going on with Ty Simpkins in this movie. Because, like, okay, obviously,
I can see the
like,
reflection. He's like, two-thirds
the kid
done.
was good, right? When he's a child actor, he's in fucking Iron Man 3. He's in fucking Insidious and Insidious 2, right? Like,
he's asleep the entire time in Insidious,
but
guys.
He shows up in The Whale, and it's just if you took someone off the street and had them who did not speak English and had them recite lines phonetically as a first take, they would give a more charismatic and exciting performance.
He can't even hold
than
it
the
I was gonna say he's
complete
breaking.
void of interest that Ty Simpkins is just mumbling his way through in this movie. It is impressive to be the worst part of The Whale. It is almost a stirring achievement because everyone is really racing to the bottom with this thing. But Ty Simpkins, just complete swagless inner energy. You get the gold, my guy. It's the fucking worst performance of 2022. Holy shit. I kind of want to like acknowledge that he's saddled with the whole like Christian cult shit that's in that movie. That's the most annoying part of that movie. But again, Hong Chow carries the other half of that subplot, and Hong Chow is good in The Whale. I fucking hate The Whale. You know how mad I am? This is the second time I had to record this because I just started like incoherently screaming the first time. Fuck this movie. Fuck Darren Aronofsky. Austin Butler should have won. Like, what the fuck are we talking about here? Did you see Elvis? When it cuts to footage of the real Elvis at the end of Elvis, you're like, who's this chump? Give me back Austin Butler. How do you not give that performance an Oscar? Fuck Darren Aronofsky. Fuck this stupid ass movie. It's bad for everyone that Brendan Fraser won the Oscar because now everyone has to remember this stupid movie and it can't just be forgotten to history like it should have. It is a black mark on everyone's careers, and I hope none of them can sleep at night for having made it. Listen to Above the Title wherever you find podcasts once the strike is over. Bye.
I forgot that it's Cole Bradley's our guess. Good movies are bad movies are
Oh, sorry.
good movies in this like parallel dimension of Cole Bradley.
I will say this, and I want to go on the record. It is October 23rd, 2022. We're about 5 months out. I just want to go on the record here. Everyone who thinks Brendan Fraser is winning an Oscar this year probably needs to be in an assisted living home because they probably cannot take care of their own faculties. Wow. It is not happening.
And the Oscar goes to Brendan Fraser.
Thank God Brendan Fraser is...
That's how much I care about Cole Bradley's opinion.
What the fuck happened? Who
He
hurt
was
him?
so excited.
He's
I went to go see 2 movies with him last night. We had so much fun.
Let me ask.
He's an arm's reach of me now.
Yeah.
He lives now like
Very
in the
close to
same
you.
city. So
Let
it's
me-
like
I don't know Cole. I haven't listened to his podcast.
he's a very broken man.
The thing about Cole is that he's secretly a big sweetheart, but he just loves to get angry about movies.
That's fine. My only rebuttal is: have you ever seen The Secret Life of Karma? You can't sit here and tell me The Whale is the worst movie ever made if you haven't seen The Secret Life
Cole
of Karma.
Cole is the Trump of movies. He
Look,
likes saying
oh.
outlandish things to get a rise out of people.
Let me just say, if you know, let's say I'm at home and I have 2 movies on the TV in front of me and I can't reach for, and it's The Secret of Karma or The Whale. Which am I watching?
Hairbrained.
It's probably The Secret of Karma because that's the least I can laugh at it.
Well, have you watched it before? You can't laugh
Either
at The
way,
Secret of Karma.
If I haven't seen either of these movies, I probably watched The Whale. But if I've seen them both, I'm probably watching The Secret of Karma.
If The Secret of Karma's being
Hairbrained or The Whale.
Oh, The Whale, absolutely. I would watch The Whale 7 times in a row over Hairbrained.
wow, that bad.
To me, The Whale is a like 5 out of 10. It's like a 2.5 out of 5 star.
8. I'm giving it an 8.
An 8, 4 star.
So here's the thing. Like, I've gone through an eating disorder.
Yeah.
Through some traumatic events. Okay. I've been in an apartment by myself eating an entire bucket of fried chicken.
Yeah.
Have almost binged myself to death a few
Yeah.
times. This was when I was like around undergrad and college. So seeing that on screen, I'm gonna attach myself to it. And I will not fault anyone for having these opinions about The Whale. I think it's totally fair, everything that everybody's saying. But I mean, I think Justin, you and I kind of said it the best. And I think the ratings kind of speak to it more. You either came into this movie with an extreme emotional attachment to it, or you didn't. And if you didn't, then you're going to pick up a lot of the things that don't quite land or feel the right things to you.
Yeah.
or you're going to come in with these sort of already emotional baggage coming into it, and none of that's going to really matter to you. It's just, the movie speaks to you the way that it speaks to you. And I won't make any apologies for it. Like, I like this movie. I'm glad I watched it again. I think I will watch it again even more after this. I think it might be a revisited movie that I'll kind of go back to. But yeah, so I don't disagree with anybody's dislikes or distaste of this movie. I just think it's when you watch a movie that really speaks to you, that's kind of the end of the story with that. So
I think if a movie speaks to you, that's all that matters.
Yeah.
Whether it's this movie or, there's like a very small contingent of movies that I'm like, even if that movie speaks to you, like, you deserve prison. That's like movies that are like objectively racist and whatnot. But for the most part, I feel like if a movie speaks to you emotionally, that's incredible. That's, I go back to that Roger Ebert quote about like empathy. And that's why I get frustrated watching this movie. I don't like this movie, but I'm not going to be mad at other people who like and found something in this movie. Because if you found emotion, if you found a connection in a piece of art, that is all that matters. There are people out there who find emotional connection in the worst fucking Disney Plus streaming shows that are going out right now that are like a crime to cinema. And if there are people who watch those and find like a genuine emotional connection in them, who am I to rain on their parade?
Mm-hmm.
I will not change my opinions. I will share my opinions. I will engage in debate if someone is interested in that. But if, someone finds an emotional connection in a piece of art, I'm not going to tell them that's wrong.
Yeah.
It didn't work for me. I feel objectively like the thing has a lot of flaws, but subjectively, if a thing works for you, what does it matter what I think or what other people think?
Mm-hmm.
That's what's great about art. That's why movies are good.
I watched this movie today, and I was talking with Savannah, who shared her opinions.
Yeah.
And I said it's movies like this that made me want to do film.
Mm-hmm.
Because to me, I didn't have, in case you cut it out, I don't know what you're going to do. I didn't have an eating disorder, but I had these self-destructive tendencies that Charlie did.
Yeah.
Your life shit, but you're doing things to make it worse. I had somebody in my life at the time consistently down, attacking me, whatever. I saw whatever I could to make that story fit to where she's a good person. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So going into the first time I watched it, I had no idea what I was walking into. I was told Brendan Fraser's in it. It might be a little sad, or whatever. Sure. And I watch it, and that's one of the few movies I've ever watched where I almost started crying, other than Marley and Me. But that's a whole different conversation. So, to me, I'm watching this person. Now, granted, I even talked to someone about it this morning. I didn't go through the same thing. But to me, it's watching somebody, like, knowing that he shouldn't be eating the bucket of chicken back there and be like, can you, hey. And it's like, fuck, man. Mm-hmm. Like, I've been in a role where it's like, I shouldn't be doing this thing because it's going to negatively affect me. But then I keep doing it because that's the comfort. That's the part where you feel at home. Yeah. So I understand where people don't, again, back to the Sadie Sink part, I understand where people are like, well, how can you keep justifying a monster's actions? You can. I've done it. I did it for 5.5 years,
Enough people tell you you're disgusting.
You're gonna believe it. That's the thing, right? Because I have a whole bunch of issues continuing from that, but where this isn't, let's talk about Justin's mental health before he turns into a supervillain.
That's for Todd Phillips.
For the Todd Phillips episode. But, so I understand where people watch this and it's like, it makes me uncomfortable. I don't like it but like when I watch this movie, I'm not looking at, well, her acting's kind of bad. The cinematography shit. Brendan Fraser winning an Oscar is like the biggest downgrade in human history, but because to me, it's like when Brendan's acting or even when he's screaming, I want to make sure I do one thing right with my life. That's connecting with me, and I mean, to go off of what you said before was like, it doesn't matter what anybody else thinks because I'm emotionally connected to this movie.
Yeah.
So that's why, some people are like, well, this movie is just bad because, fucking Thomas is the worst Christian in earth. But
because I you know, we've been building up to this episode quite a lot, and we kind of been hinting that, Jeff, you and I have like different opinions on this. My ultimate goal today and on this episode, just to kind of get a little bit like serious about like, you know, with who we're talking to, whoever's listening, is you might be someone who watched this movie, have a personal attachment to it, whether that's through like how Justin described, like how I described, or maybe through a very different avenue that you just found something in this movie that was like, no doubt, undoubtedly, that was you. You were there, and that had your kind of your attention the entire time. And you might have like a lot of friends who are shitting on the movie, and you might be in the room with them, and you might be thinking like, well, God, like, are my opinions kind of like not really that valid, or should I just like kind of hold my tongue on what my true opinions are? And I'm just going to say, like, when it comes to receptions like this, movies where you have that, as Jeff very, very nicely put it, like a very deep understanding of it because you apply yourself to it very strongly. Yeah, speak your truth, you know, don't be afraid to tell folks if they don't like The Whale. And if they ask you about it, be like, I actually think it's the best movie I've ever seen in my entire life. Because to me, I honestly think it's in my, like, you know, lifetime top 5 is where I kind of put The Whale.
Fascinating.
Wow.
No, genuinely. And that's not without seeing all the faults. You can love a movie and know it's not perfect.
Yeah.
I think that's the biggest thing I want people to take away from this episode is you can love something even though it's not perfect. Yeah. And you know it's not perfect. So...
Yes,
kind of a theme of the movie.
Yeah.
Well, Justin, do you have any final thoughts you want to share?
I honestly don't know how much more I could cover.
Yeah, I feel like I have said, Stuart, I think that was a excellent finale to this.
Yeah.
I don't feel like I have much more to say. Movies matter. Movies are important. And if you find something in a movie, never let anyone tell you that you're wrong, even if they do. Because I will, but don't take that seriously.
I will point at you.
Yeah, I will laugh at you. No.
Oh, I should also add, that whole like tangent wasn't so you can take that as evidence to tell your friends to shut up about The Whale. People are gonna talk shit.
Yeah.
You can't stop it.
Yeah.
You just got to learn how to kind of live with it, and you know, just stand by your opinions and stances as they are. That's all I meant by that.
All I want to say, guys, be yourself.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I will thank the audience for listening to this gargantuan whale-sized episode of...
It was a big episode.
Travolting presents the Fraser Zones covering The Whale. We hope you enjoyed it. We hope you found something in this episode. Hope you enjoyed some of our previous guests who are tuning in. You can find all their previous episodes in our log here. Highly recommend listening to all. They're all smart people with interesting things to talk about in movies. Thanking Justin for coming back again to talk about The Whale today.
I'll be here as many times as you want me to be.
We will have you back again. One is already in the calendar. But make sure to tune in next week for our episode on Batgirl. So those of you who are at this moment saying, how do you have an episode on Batgirl? That movie didn't come out. Well, we got some stuff we got to talk about with you. So make sure you tune in next week to listen to that. We'll be joined by Mark Tilley for some interesting information. Following that, we have our episode on the Killers of the Flower Moon. That'll be our final episode, Brendan, until he does the next one, followed by a retrospective, and then we might be doing someone else after that, but you'll find that out down the line. For now, please remember to rate, review, and subscribe on whatever platform you're listening on. As a reminder, we're on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, and YouTube. Please give us a like and subscribe on any of those platforms that you have. It's appreciated. Follow us on social media, Twitter, Instagram, BlueSky, Threads, at Travolting Pod. Travolting Podcast at gmail.com. We're Travolting on Reddit. Find me on Twitter at Jeff W. Sweeney. Anything you guys want to plug?
Follow me on Instagram or Twitch, 25 Soup Man.
That's such a great name.
I got nothing.
Special thanks, as always, to Rebecca Johnson for our graphic design and Michael Van Bodegum Smith for our theme music. That is, as always, killer. That is taking you out right now. Have a great week, folks.